Shadow turn 5 to go over this quickly and complete it, as it were. So, let's start in the fisheries. Here, Graphicanus's agents, level 4, mobilized to level 5. Their sources agree that the fisheries were where Malek was last seen. Thus, the agents are there quietly asking around, making connections and hiring more hands. Going it alone will require safety in numbers. Klenora's merchant attacks Lemur Sped as spies. The merchant and his fisherman buddies do not appreciate the insertion of troublemakers into their quiet community. They don't want any of that trouble here, and it is encouraged to shun anyone that try to stir up trouble with their freedom from the Empire nonsense. The spies try to avoid this by receding into the shadows, choosing discretion over a violent response. The information has been gathered and plans set in motion that shall not be upset by the feeble thrashings of a dying empire. Now, try as they might, the spies do not manage to completely escape unharmed. Between the two sides, Klenora has 4 dice versus Lemur's 3 dice. And it turns out that nobody's actually helping Lemur, and he's not even using his own resource to help himself. So Klenora wins, but only just. She doesn't get any 6s, and therefore lowers the spies from level 3 to level 2. Yeah, they were level 3, so it was 4 dice versus 4 dice, is what I'm saying. And that is basically what happens there. In Low Town, also a messy place. This turn, the priests mobilized. More priests flock to preach in this hive of scum, villainy, and organized crime. This is, of course, Fundiber's priests. They are now level 4. The bookies... That's Ingolma, the mafioso. The bookies who have long been establishing their hold on Lowtown finally unveil what they've been working on. The family casino. The family casino not only offers good paying jobs to Lowtown residents, but welcomes those employees into a true family, where there are always opportunities to advance, and you know you have the protection and backing of your family. A portion of all profits is also going to educate the children of Lowtown, who can come and work in the casino one fine day. Join the family. She's attempting here to raise influence in Lowtown to 3, betting all the resources she has. She had level 2, of course. Klenora's seamstress, who is working here this turn, will help out with 2 more dice. It's best to start growing your clientele base early. Never mind the good work it is to start the next generation off looking fabulous. The seamstress is inspired to start a new line of cheap but couture children's clothes to help the children better focus on their studies, of course. And unexpectedly, Lemur Sped also helps. So here we have pro-Empire and anti-Empire both helping the organized crime outfit. The street toughs don't know much about running a casino, and they're very confused to be assigned this detail. This is hardly a revolution after all. Regardless, they take their carefully prepared orphans and extol the virtues of the casino's charitable work for the Majoran community. And with all those dice, this succeeds. She gets her 3 successes and thus has influence level 3 in Lowtown, dominating it completely. We go on to the infirmary. Not much happening here this turn. Mentalist magic of the Shagulites does raise influence to 1. And in this area, the magic comes in a way of How on earth did that idiot manage to lose control of the infirmary? That was his entire job, and to hear him tell it his whole life's purpose. If you want things done right, sometimes you have to do them yourself. Graphicanus probably muttering to himself in the Iron Tower. And that's a success. There's nothing hindering this or anything such like. So one success had from the role. The mafiosos are doing the same thing. They see what's going on with these Shagulites and give them a decent roughing up to gain control of the infirmary. Certain drugs become available to the public for medicinal purposes. And they also gain level 1 influence in the area. The market sees no action at all because there are no resources there. The wharf, plenty of people here, of course. We've all heard the rumors. People disappearing. Last week, two guards went missing from the sulfur camp. But they're not just missing. What do you think those meat pies are made of? There's lots of rumors and innuendos going on here, and it is in fact started by Gerion Groteschi's spies, level 3. They're whipping up a frenzied mob to blame the Shagulites and steer this mob towards buildings owned by them and hope they don't have superior numbers inside. So Gerion Groteschi is attacking the necromantic sorcery resource with his spies. Which is a bold move because he has fewer dice than the necromantic sorcery. He has only 3 dice, and necromantic sorcery has 5 dice, and so on. The rats mostly hide, following their most recent directive from Malek, which was to gather information, but they are a lot less effective at it than they were when he was around to direct them, and less subtle too, with a notable tendency to behave far more aggressively than normal rats. Some of the spies definitely find themselves getting bitten, which makes it a very good thing that the Shagulites are no longer in charge of the infirmary. Lemur Sped helps Gerion's spies here. They are intervening. They're entirely affronted by their new directive to hunting undead rats, which is not covered in guild training at all, after all. Fortunately, the nice thing about a stake through the heart was that it also worked on non-vampires, so it's close enough. And Fundiber's prostitutes will also help out here. They will not have it. They will not. The smell of the wharf is bad. The stink of the sailors is worse. And now the merchants seem to be preventing some rather talented assassins from taking care of an infestation of undead rats. The ladies of the night set up next to the merchant stalls to hawk their own wares. After all, they're selling the oldest commodity there is. Turns out the merchants' usual customers just have less coin to spend on imports. So yes, unexpectedly, in fact, the Sambarsun's merchants is helping. Yes, you heard that right. Sambarsun's merchants are helping the Shagulites here. Yeah, nobody saw that coming. As Malek would have told anyone who asks, rats are loyal, affectionate creatures, something that was true even of their undead kin. Some nuzzled the legs of friendly merchants with the most intact parts of their black-eyed faces before vanishing back into the walls, safe from the mob, at least for now. And indeed, the attack fails. It's a close one. Both sides have about the same number of dice, but at the end of the day, the attack fails. Ingolma has not been involved in that attack. Her underworld traders, there are shipments going in and out according to the godmother's wishes. The traders purchase a warehouse of their own and establish it as under the control of the family. Workers from Lowtown are hired to serve as guards and stockers, porters, and logistics managers. Jobs flourish in Marjura thanks to Ingolma. She is working hard to raise the influence there. and Vemsika's marines block that. The marines see what is happening and immediately start checking the cargo for contraband, expropriating whatever they want, really, and making sure that the underworld traders knew who is in charge of the docks. And this attempt fails. So, Ingolma does not gain extra influence in the wharf. In Hightown, the bureaucrats, that's Graficanus's bureaucrats, level 4, they mobilize to level 3. They started at level 3 and mobilized to level 4. They had done what was asked of them, and lacking further instructions, had looked for Malek at Villa Sambask, but the master was not at home. If there's one thing bureaucrats are good at, it's creating more bureaucracy. At the garrison, we have raise influence attempt to level 3 by the butler, which is Klenora Spinalunga's servant. The butler works swiftly to get matters in order, with everything being thrown into disarray after Praanz laid down the law, or at least the clay tablet, on the procurator. These servants and administrators have spent far too long without firm hand to guide them in their duties. And she gets support from both wizard and clairvoyant there, and succeeds in getting dominance over the garrison. So now Klenora has taken over the garrison. And that's really it in terms of what happened on the board for this the last shadow turn, in fact, for Arhem. And before we will see what happens in that city, because things are about to go down, as you will find out. Alright, we're back to Trakoria and Arhem. It has not yet sunk into the sea. This is a good thing, I think. Maybe. It depends on your point of view. I think Praanz da Kaelve thinks it's a good idea, yes? Because it is the source of imperial power, isn't it? Right.
I'm not gonna lie, if it's the source of imperial power, how come they let it be such a shithole?
Because only the sulfur camp really matters. Who cares about the village, right? It's just, as long as... they don't even work there. Right.
Even the sovereign are like supposedly here only in exile. Why send people who are only in exile to take care of your precious resource? It just...
Because you're not sending them here to take care of the resources. You're just sending them here to get rid of them at court.
Yeah. And the resource come anyway. It's really Shakelo who takes care of that part, not the procurator. So, or that was the idea until someone burned down Shakelo's house.
Well, I didn't burn down his house.
No, you didn't. This is correct. These were more
I just
innocent
accused him of either stealing or harboring the person who was stealing. Somebody else burned down his house.
Indeed. Anyhow, this show is rated R because Trakoria is not a nice and cuddly place. There are horrid things being done in various basements. How about that? And
or towers.
Don't forget infirmaries.
And infirmaries.
Resemble that remark.
You can ask the procurator about his local torture, for instance. So yeah, I think expect continued horrifying things, I suppose. I'm not saying that anything horrifying has happened so far, except we've had people doing like brain things to others and investigating their minds and yeah, murder on at least some druids, highly suspected, and oh yeah, undead rising. That's good. That's good. So yes, we should expect that.
The power-hungry general might be the least frightening person.
Exactly. With us tonight, because there are so many things happening in Arhem, we do have again, a special guest, which is awesome. But I'm going to start with Josh on the left, because on my screen he's on the left. On the
Hey, folks. Hey, folks. Josh Lapointe, and I'm playing Erald de Meld, and very much missing my dear friend Balin.
Yeah, poor Balan. And you are fulfilling what function in Arhem?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Very much the Inquisition. I'm here to rid the anti-creationists of the lands here. And very, very, very speculative that there may have been someone that dealt with Balin as part of that.
Maybe. Nom. And then we have Sin.
I am Sen. I am playing Lady Taralese da Bravaleti, resident noble and questionably powerful mage.
Novice at this point, if we're gonna be honest, but we can make everybody.
She's gotten
else
lucky.
She has been lucky. Yes, it seems like she's very powerful indeed, like a power level like 3 on some of your spells, which is really hard to get with that few number of dice. But yes, indeed. Then we have the first Jess. I've put the Jesses next to each other this time.
Oh, good.
Yes, but it's the Praanz da Kaelve Jess that I'm thinking about now.
Okay. I'm Jessica Lapointe, and I'm playing Praanz da Kaelve, head of the Secret Service. I'm here to find stolen weapons and kick down doors, and I'm out of stolen weapons. So.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one thing left to do. And last but not least, our recurring guest. Part of the cast, one could say, at this point, because of all sorts of interesting plot development. We'll see what happens, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am the other Jess, and I'm portraying one of the continuing horrible things. Namely, I am here representing the Shagulites, specifically portraying Malek Mangus.
Indeed.
Or possibly his corpse, we will see.
Or possibly his corpse, we will see. So it is. So it shall be written. Who wants to summarize the the session 2 weeks ago in exchange for a fate die?
I'd be happy to, but I suspect one of the forces of good would like to take that opportunity.
Who said I was a force of good? I find that insulting.
Sorry, forces of good.
Slightly better.
There have been a lot of times where I'm like, okay, I know I'm technically the bad guy here, but damn. Anyway,
Exactly.
So last session, there was a variety of intrigues ongoing. Nin Halaska had arrived back in Arhem. Was collaborating with Lady Taralese da Bravaleti on all manner of bearing witness to the things that she had seen. Various people were doing various things, but this was all disrupted by the sudden knowledge that the dead had risen and were walking. The local necromancer decided that the best option to react to this was to take a long walk off a short pier, but not before passing information to some of the locals that then made its way to the other factions in town.
Indeed. Yeah, that's basically how it began.
I believe they dealt with the first wave, only to hear that there was much more to come.
Yes. The session ended with well, they had a short interview with Thorax Draconicus as well, the magister who has been studying dragons for the past decade or so here, only to apparently pass out stupid drunk after he had an evening with Arn Dunkelbrink, and thus he missed the dragon leaving. And he is still sort of beating himself up about that. But aside from that, yes, there was someone arriving in town, Shulaban Addertongue, who had been running for 2 days straight from the north, and said, Basically. And that's where we are. So we're now on the are we on the early morning of Misiska 23rd, I believe, when we are going to are we marching away? Is that our plan here, Praanz?
Oh, I totally forgot the bombshell that our local Inquisitor dropped at the very end of the last session.
Oh yes, yes indeed, the bombshell, which is
That the
I feel like I should let you
Inquisitors.
say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that literally the Inquisitors were willing to work with the Shagulites to deal with the zombies.
that is a bombshell. I have
Yep.
no idea how his superiors on the island of Mereld will take this.
Yeah.
That might
Enemy
I
of
believe
enemy of
Praanz
enemy and all
sent out
that.
her navy to look for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do believe there was some coordination going on between Lady Taralese and Praanz before we left. Because I planned on leaving her in charge of the garrison.
Mm.
Because the former person in charge of the garrison is a drunk and a moron. So I need somebody competent.
Only
I asked who
slightly.
dropped the clay tablets. Other things I forgot.
Only slightly.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I think I lost my thread, but that's okay. Yeah, that's an excellent summary of what happened last. We have not quite finished the last shadow turn yet. As it happens, Klenora is the next one up. Did you want to do the thing here now, Sin? There might be, I don't know that there is. Oh, I can see a couple of people who could intervene with you in the fisheries. But your butler can do things without interference from anyone except Goba.
You have all of my dice to help you.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and do that. At least that part then at the garrison. I definitely want to try and raise to 3.
That would remove Goba's level 3 influence, just so you know that. It trashes. Okay. Is Goba going?
At the moment, I'm going to let her because I'm leaving her in control, so that makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. So your wizard will help out there. So that gives you, Klenora, you have 3 fate dice, right, to throw into this. Plus the 2 for your influence, so that's 5 dice together. And then Goba is helping you out with another 2 dice. And since I'm NPCing Vemsika right now, I can give you 2 more for that. So that will be 9 dice altogether to get influence level 3. Feel free to roll.
And of course I'm forgetting the syntax. Or the dice column is deciding it doesn't like me right now.
Let's /roll, not /r.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so finicky.
I'm not gonna lie, I hate anything that's done by commands.
You can
I
click
scroll
the.
up every goddamn time.
Oh, me too. Every time. I have to do it at least 3 times, and then even then I probably still have to ask somebody.
You can click the D6. There's like a square under the actual chat window there, which is a D6. And you can just click that repeatedly if you don't want to write the syntax.
All right, so that looks like definitely got it. Sorry, I rolled it in Game of Shadows.
Oh, okay. That's why. And I didn't even have that Discord open for no reason. Yes, you did. That's a lot of yes. There's, what, 2 fails of those?
Yeah.
With
So
authority.
your nefarious plan has been revealed, Mikhail, to get all my good rolls out of the way early.
Yes, yes, I am cunning that way. So that way you do get your level 3 influence, which does smash everyone else's influence in the area, because that's what happens when you achieve dominance. But it also means that everyone has used their resource in that area.
Thematically, though, it makes sense at the moment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. butler is done. Then we have your merchant in the fisheries. That might run into some, I don't know what, from Garion and Lemur, who are not here. So I'm gonna.
Don't I still have someone down at the fisheries?
Nope.
I thought I had somebody on the water.
You have people. You have a spy in Hightown, and you have your wizard in the garrison, and then you have your soldiers in the Sulphur Camp.
Oh, it's Hightown something. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had them at the wharf. I moved them.
Mm-hmm.
The term before. I forgot.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay. Hightown's been such a hotbed for you.
It has been. It has been. But yeah, so we will have to ask about that on Discord, so the other players can decide on what's going to happen in the fisheries, basically. And that same thing is true for Lowtown. No, you've already used your seamstress in Lowtown.
Yep.
And after you are done, we only have Lemur Spade left. And he has a bunch of resources still. He has his fishery spies and his pyromancer in the Sulphur Camp. I guess he just levels that one up. Nobody did anything in the Sulphur Camp, and he's like, yes.
That's because I'm waiting for other people to do stuff.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So the rest of it, I guess, we'll resolve later.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to, because they're
Fix
not
it in
here.
post.
Yes. All right. So we have you and Arhem. That's what we have. And you are planning to march out with the army. Is that what we did last time?
Yeah, so the plan is before I march out with the army, because I think you said it's going to take me 48 hours to get them prepped to march.
Yep.
So while they're being prepped to march, I am taking some of my command to get the Sulphur Camp back up and running, and getting Lady Taralese's command of the garrison and the rest of the city set up.
I think we might need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Very well then. You are going off down to the Sulphur Camp. Yeah, what was that?
I will have the proper paperwork drawn up for Lady Taralese for the garrison, and then go down to the Sulphur Camp.
Marching down towards the Sulphur Camp. What is happening in other parts of town while that is going on? I know where Malek is. Bloop, bloop, bloop. No, wait. Erald, what are you doing?
I probably will also head back up to the Sulphur Camp because of the reason that I know that Sulphur Camp is just as important here as dealing with the zombies. And until we can find our dear friend to try and figure out what's going on with the zombies, that's the second most important thing, to keep that lovely sulfur flowing.
Yeah.
Lady Taralese, you stay in the garrison?
Yeah, she'll stay at the garrison, but after she's kind of gotten herself settled in, which probably doesn't take too long since, the one who just threw the clay tablet down just said, do it or else.
Yep.
That probably shouldn't take too long.
I'm in charge now.
Yep.
She's in charge now.
Exactly.
There you go.
I think after that, she's probably, if she's still there, she's probably going to recruit, shoot, why am I blanking on her name?
Nin?
Not Nin. The Vemsica's mentalist.
Calypso.
Calypso.
Callisto, I believe.
Callisto, to help her with making a collect call or figuring out where to make a collect call to for a certain Inquisitor.
Ah.
Inquisitor or Shagulite?
Well, she's making the call on the behalf of the Inquisitor to the Shagulite.
Ah,
Gotcha.
yes. Also, by the way, Taralese, you do get 3 fate dice for raising your influence to 3, because that's what happens when you do that. So, 7 fate dice now. Before we get to the actual spell work here. What? Because I remember that I haven't asked you. What is your temporary goal for this session? Or this and the next? Are we... Because I'm thinking that Taralese's temporary goal might have changed a bit.
Oh.
The last one was establish a transactional connection with one of the trade houses.
Yes. I will think on that while you deal with the sulfur camp.
I was gonna
Okay.
say, I feel like working as the Secret Service's second in command, or with assisting them, is gonna put you in higher power than a trade house.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Praanz doesn't really have to change her temporary goal. It's been the same throughout, and it serves quite well still, so... Unless you want to change it, but, you know, protect the interest of the Trakorian Empire seems like... what you're doing.
Taking the zombies down and fixing up the sulfur camp feels like that's still protecting the interest of the Empire, so...
Yep. Yep, exactly. Erald, do you have any shifts in your temporary goal?
Yeah, dealing with the bigger threat at hand. So where it says Shagulites, we'll replace with zombies for now.
Very well. And Malek, I can give you the same question.
Figure out what in the fuck is going on.
You know, I definitely... That's kind of where I was thinking too. That's probably Taralese's goal, is kind of trying to figure out what is this new threat.
This is my goddamn boneyard.
Exactly.
Praanz just treats it the same way she treats everything. Can I cut its head off? Good, let's go.
Pretty much.
Worked so far.
Praanz, as you're going down towards the sulfur camp, who are you bringing? Are you bringing Nin? Is Nin with Lady Taralese?
I probably would have left Nin with Lady Taralese because I don't trust her as far as I can throw her.
Fair enough.
I definitely would have taken Erald with me if he's willing to go, and a small company of soldiers, probably maybe 6.
6 soldiers? Regulars? Trakorian
Yeah,
soldiers? There we go.
just enough for backup if there's some kind of fight.
Mm-hmm. Very well. You march down to the sulfur camp and are going to enter into it, if you will. Dang, I realized I haven't actually made a detailed map of this place. As you approach, there is of course a guard there, but showing the credentials, you will be let in without too much trouble. That is to say, no trouble at all. And there is, of course, in the middle of the yard, like, this is now... How early are we in the morning when we do this?
Shortly after breakfast.
Alright, so 7, 8, something like that. The slaves are already doing what they're supposed to. I'm sorry, the chain gang, the convicts, the forced laborers.
Workers.
Workers, yes. They are already doing what they're supposed to be, so they're out in the actual swamps. You can hear them moaning as much as they can produce any sounds at all, and doing their work. And in the middle of the camp, you can see a whole series of barrels being all prepared, if you will. And there's, of course, workers here going to and fro and doing their thing, as they should. The lieutenant will do a salute, bow, and as he should. What's your orders, Colonel?
We're doing a full inspection before we leave off, and making sure you are prepared in case of another zombie attack.
Of course, Colonel.
That's exactly what she'll do. She'll do a very thorough, full, complete inspection, looking for anything amiss. She'll ask about their guard rotation. She'll ask about their medical rotation, how they're making out after their issues with their zombie potion a little while ago. Full, thorough inspection.
Very well. I just needed to check something here, you see. There we go. Okay. Well, the lieutenant moves up towards the bunch of barrels in the middle. And I want some wind rolls.
What is my wind again?
It's a 1, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Can I use, like, my command or anything like that?
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
You check those barrels, which I totally could do, but I don't feel like it.
Exactly.
Oh, you're gonna tell someone else to check the barrels? Yeah, sure.
If I have somebody here with a higher wind, absolutely.
I think we determined the soldier has the highest wind.
Yep.
We did.
Yep, we did.
So my command
Red shirts,
gives him
go.
a +1, so it's a 3?
No, you don't even have to roll for that. It's when you're issuing a command, the only time you have to roll is when you're sending someone into obvious danger and they're already scared or something. Then you need to rally the troops and so on. But this is a mundane situation and they're just going to check some barrels. So, yeah, they will do that. And do you want to roll their wind? 2d6? Because that's what they have.
And can I add anything because I'm commanding them to do it, so they're going to be more thorough?
You know what?
You know, they're generals standing there watching.
Why don't? Yeah, exactly. Why don't you roll your water plus command? Put a fate die into that, so that leaves you with 3 left. So then you have 3 dice to roll.
Okay.
And if you get successes on this, you will in fact be able to give them extra dice. You got 2 successes, but no 6, so that gives the soldiers 1 extra die for this. So 3d6.
I also feel like they're going to be really super thorough because it's the longer they take doing this, the longer they're not spending marching off to go face a horde of the undead.
Exactly. So. Oh, we rolled for the soldier? No, that was your... Did you roll your own? Your soldier's wind?
Were you wanting me to roll the soldiers?
No, I figured that Praanz might, but yeah.
Oh, I thought that
Everybody was waiting for someone else to make the roll.
Sorry, it said Trakorian soldier, so I thought that was the soldier, but I guess that was me.
Yeah, that was you.
So how many dice does the soldier have?
3.
Also 3?
Yeah. Because you helped them.
Okay.
That's a lot better.
Yep. That is exactly what was needed. The Trakorian soldier walks up to the barrels and then kind of stops and goes, "Fuse! Run!"
Obvious trap was obvious.
Everybody roll. Yeah, exactly. Everybody roll fire to get away from there.
Instead of running away, can Praanz try and cut the fuse?
It is very dangerous because if you fail, you blow up. Depending on how
It's a very
big the charge is,
Praanz
of
thing
course.
to do, though.
It's a very Praanz thing to do, though.
I suppose.
My dad had
Okay.
permanent scarring and a cool backstory out of it.
Exactly. Tell me what to roll.
Fire plus swordplay, I would argue, because you will
Okay.
pull out your sword.
That gives me 4 or 5, I think.
5 dice, yes, altogether when you use, because you have the reach of the sword.
Okay.
Hey!
Yes!
I was gonna say, you're gonna need a bunch of successes on this, and then you rolled a bunch of successes. I don't know why it's always marking the Trakorian soldier here, but that's okay.
I knock on wood, do decently for critting when I want to do something stupid. It's like the dice gods just enjoy watching me do stupid shit.
I'm in fact gonna give you 3 fate dice for being unflinchingly upright and unbending like an oak facing a storm, because
Yes.
that took some courage, let's say, some guts.
Praanz knows that the sulfur camp blowing up would be the worst thing. Probably worse than zombies in the eyes of the Empire.
You managed to cut off that cord at the last possible minute. It's like you're moving with the speed that you have in the Toronda. Describe your speed, you fencing master.
So they yell, the soldier yells, fuse, and Praanz, without thinking, just before you even see what's happening, pulls the sword out, and it's already down on the ground before you even notice it's out. And the fuse is cut.
Indeed. Well, that's going to be next level Praanz, because you don't have quick draw yet, technically. But yes, I understand what you mean. She moves fast as a snake. And
it's
perhaps,
very much the action hero, like when the bomb's down to 1 second. That kind of moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And her quick move here is not so much the drawing of the saber as the legwork. Getting from, a few steps away to the actual barrels. She's doing a Usain Bolt Quicksilver thing.
Plus one heck of a lunge, one would imagine.
Yes, just diving in there and pulling it out.
Praanz has got some long ass legs.
Yep. And yeah, that was close. You're literally holding the last second of the fuse, which goes out in your hand.
Yeah.
If you had no 6s there, I would have taken like 1 point of damage for holding a burning fuse in your hand, but you have a 6, so you're fine.
That's awesome. So at that point, Praanz will look around at the soldier running the sulfur camp. Who the hell delivered these barrels?
Yeah, the lieutenant will now pull a blade, and others will as well.
Excuse you?
Yep.
Huh.
It becomes a general melee, and the lieutenant sort of throws off his helmet and goes, "Freedom! Crush the oppressors! Trinsmira forever!"
First of all, you do realize we're in the middle of a goddamn zombie attack, right? Like, there are bigger things to worry about. Second of all, if you really want to pull this bullshit, I will murder every last one of you personally. Now, do you really want to keep going?
That to me sounds like you are doing something like a command thing here.
Sure.
So why don't we do that? You are basically just trying to stare them down and commanding them to stop being idiots.
Pretty much.
We will spend another.
Praanz is using her mom voice.
Exactly. We're spending another of your fate dice for command.
Yes.
And roll 3d6 water plus the command, and of course you get a 6. Lovely. So I'm just gonna double check here because I believe that
Praanz is just gonna yell at people till they stop being stupid.
So these guys, difficulty is normally 1, but it can be higher for a more demanding order. I'm going to set it to difficulty level 3 because, like, they see you as the enemy. And you rolled 2 successes. We need one more for this to succeed. You do have a 6 there, which is lovely. Praanz does have an experience that she can call upon, I believe. You tricked the pharmacist Sulon Rompelak into helping you take care of Baron da Munska in Tresilva back in the day. I think that's the closest we get to applicability. Want to use that one?
Sure.
All right. It's about trying to get someone who really doesn't want to help you to help you. So that's why I figured it could work. So re-roll the 2 there. Let's hope for you that that works out. But it becomes a... Unfortunately, it is still a 2. Yeah, go ahead.
I said no, it didn't work.
No, it didn't work. You tried, but apparently these rebellious rebels definitely do not want to be convinced by you. I'm gonna roll their rebelliousness. 2d6 for water. They're highly motivated, so that's 3d6. I roll a single success. I think they're gonna hesitate because of your intensity here. Like,
Praanz is just very much, I don't have time to deal with this bullshit right now.
Yeah, there's a group of them who are definitely advancing against you with their sword drawn, but it's not the entire camp. That's what's gonna happen with your 4 and a 6. There's lots of soldiers who are confused by why the lieutenant is doing this, and among them is someone you might recognize from before. Let's see if we can find him. Let's see now.
Praanz is just very much like rolling her eyes, like, I don't have time for this.
Abrilax the Tolguld giant, half giant. He's kind of standing there, and you've impressed him before. Oh, boss, what's happening?
He's a traitor and a turncoat.
Okay. What's a turncoat? He turned his coat?
He switched sides mid-battle.
That's
He dies.
Okay. And so begins a probably short and intense melee. Erald, what are you doing in all this?
I'm basically watching to see who's going to strike first. And at this point, shift from my old man pose to my well-trained quarterstaff.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be a short melee between 2... We get to use the field battle rules for the first time ever in your group. Between 2 squads. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be your troop versus their troop. And you lead them, of course, and that gives you one important advantage, because this is how command works. So your Trakorian soldiers, they have swordplay, level 1, and they're specialists in swords, because they are in fact pretty good at that. You can add... They have 2 in all the bloods, so their base dice for this melee will be a 2, and then we add... they don't get to add anything for the sword, because both sides have swords, but we do get to add a bonus for their being specialists with swords. So, that's 3 stone so far, 3 base dice so far. You can to that add the swordplay of the Trakorian soldiers, their ability, 1 fate die, plus another fate die for your own command level. So you could add 2 fate dice to this, for a total of 5 dice.
Okay, so roll 5 dice for my soldiers?
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's nice. 2, 6, that's only 1 failed die. They have their stone, much like everybody else here. altogether, I'm gonna spend a fate die from my GM pool for their swordplay, but they don't have a commander like you around, so they net only 4d6. And I roll considerably worse. That's a ringing victory for you. And now I'll tell you what that means. Let's see now. Have to get back to the field battle.
It means it was the fucking aroundest of times and the finding outest of times.
Yes,
Exactly.
That is exactly what happens. It is the finding outest of times.
It's never a good idea to fuck around and find out with Praanz.
Indeed.
There's a reason they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, you lose a number of units equal to the enemy's, the damage of your weapon, which is a sword, plus the number of 6s you rolled. So, that's 2 more. And, yeah, that's bad. They lose intensely. How about that? It's a short melee. People are just kind of smacking into each other. Abrelax is on your side, which is actually an out of the die for you, because him alone makes a difference like that. Do you want to roll his extra
Sure.
die? Because
Just
he's
for
that
fun.
big. He's like a monster on your side. Apparently he is a bit too fumbly today to make a difference. But it's,
That's okay.
if you have Abrelax in your unit, that's an extra die. Erald, however, will have to fight one turn against one of the traitor soldiers because you are caught in the middle of this. Praanz, you don't. You're leading the winning side, and you're basically just standing there and commanding people to go. And maybe you want to, then we can do a duel for a turn, but you don't have to.
I don't need to do a duel. Just as the melee is coming to an end, she will point her sword at the lieutenant's throat and basically give him the look of, I bloody well warned you. You should have run away. As she stabs him.
Erald, let's fight your little thing against a Trakorian soldier.
Okay.
I will definitely spend one of my secret fate dice. 7 left.
Would Errol get anything from my commands? Because the soldiers know he's on our side.
No, this is just for the unit.
Okay.
Do they though? I'm pretty sure he helps them.
Yeah.
All
He's
right.
commanded the sulfur camps last turn.
Indeed.
So, in this case, am I doing stone?
Fire
Or
is
fire.
better for
Fire.
you because
Yeah.
you rely on speed, right?
Yep. So basically, Erald will attempt to use his quarterstaff to trip up the soldier and try to disarm him because he doesn't really want to kill him, unlike the group that he had to deal with in the low town.
You do not have swordplay. No, you're rolling too fast. You have another die. You have 4 dice altogether.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just gonna erase that and pretend I didn't see it. Because you have the quarterstaff, which is longer than the sword, so you get the tool bonus. The Trakorian
extra,
sword does
okay.
not.
Okay.
Or this isn't a Trakorian soldier, it's a camp guard.
That's fun.
That is 3 successes, which is terrible for him. He has 2 stone. He does have a sword that he doesn't get the use of. He does have specialist on a sword that he gets the use of. So that's 3d6. And I did use, so it's 46. 46 versus 46. But I did not roll nearly as well as you did. You do quarterstaff plus 1 in damage. That's 2 points of damage. Describe how you are working against this soldier. He's coming in with a sword and just, freedom!
So Erald basically takes up his quarterstaff and hits the sword, and the quarterstaff actually seems to bounce and have enough elasticity in it that he actually hits it at his hand, and basically knocks the sword out. And as he
Yep.
hits him in the hand, he comes back and basically kicks him in the kind of in the head. So
you can definitely spend the 6 on just disarming him. You're not going to do much damage to him because he does have a leather harness, so the other damage point doesn't count. But he is now without a weapon, and that's kind of consistent with what's happening to the others. Did Praanz want to duel with that lieutenant?
Sure, I mean, we can throw that in there.
If you want to fight, and for once actually use your swords, because you haven't had the chance this entire campaign yet. I suspect that... are you wearing your light armor?
Yeah, she would be preparing for battle, so she would have armor on.
Right, so then your fire is not 3, it's a 2. But you do have swordplay to weapons, and you are... Well, you're not the attacker this turn, they are. So you don't actually get to use the extra die for that this turn, but that's okay. You have 2... You don't get a bonus for the sword, because they also don't have a bonus for the sword. You have the same length of weapon. Put in a fate die on your swordplay, if you will. Gives you 3 dice altogether.
Okay.
Oh! That was a good roll. I'm not going to spend a whole lot on my fate dice here. I'm already down to fewer. I will roll for the soldier in question, who has 2 for stone, 1 for specialist, 3d6, and 1 more for the swordplay. So, oh, wow, that was actually a better roll than yours. Question is, no, they are the attacker, so you can't actually match this. Praanz is in a bit of trouble here. What happens is 3 points of damage, which actually goes through your armor. Okay. Now, because 3 points of damage will in fact break Praanz and would force you to do a death roll, but you can take a consequence instead and reduce the number of damage you take. You can take a temporary consequence that would reduce the number of damage by 1 step. And consequences here is like, I lose the use of my arm until I'm healed by someone who can, has medicine ability or such like.
Sure.
Or similar, if you will.
Yeah, he probably got a good jab in, good slice on her arm and knocked her sword astray.
Yeah, it could be, also it could be your weapon is breaking, it could be your face has been taken a hit, your eye, your head, your arm, your leg. Where are you maimed at the moment?
Just because it'll be a cool story. Praanz takes one to the face.
To the face. So that will be...
So now she'll have a scar.
Yes, it's an ugly scar in your face.
Probably looks way worse than it is too, because your faceplate's like crazy.
Your value for water will count as a 1 in all rhetorical conflicts because of this, until the wound has healed properly.
That's fine.
But if
Praanz
you
isn't
are
charismatic anyway.
But if you are threatening someone, if you're intimidating someone, you instead get a bonus die because of the scar.
See, this actually works in my favor a little bit. 'Cause Praanz isn't charismatic for shit, but I do like to threaten people.
Is this a temporary scarring in the face, a wound in the face, or is it a permanent one? If it's a permanent one, you actually remove 2 of the damage that came in.
It would probably become a permanent scar.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it wasn't going to be, I feel like Praanz would insist.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, let's
don't need
describe
stitching
this.
for that. This is fine.
This fanatical freedom fighter from Transmira, apparently, who is jumping up there with a sword,
It's a
And
lucky hit in her face.
exactly. Gets as you're trying to coordinate things. You parry left. Apparently, he is an expert with a sword. Manages to get under your guard and slit, do a sweep over your face. It stings. It does sting. Now you have 1 point of damage, which gives him a bonus die next turn, but on the other hand, your 2 weapons will count. So now you actually get a bonus die for that. Alright, do we want to do this, or will Erald, who defeated his opponent, will he be helping Praanz in the next turn?
Jokes aside, Erald will actually, basically, on his turn, go over and assist.
Yep.
The hothead took one to the face? Damn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
More along the lines of, this one was easy, why is she having so much difficulty?
Because I'm taking out the leader, goddammit, and trying to coordinate an army at the same time.
Will Erald be the one taking the lead then? That would eliminate the Transmiran's
Yeah, Erald
weapon
probably at this
bonus.
point would do the whole step in and let her do the commanding, and I'll basically jump in front and try and take the brunt, I guess.
Prompt.
You ask
Probably
that
got
you
one die, I think.
don't kill him, just
Knock on him unconscious?
yeah, I'd like to do the kill.
Well, investigate. Interrogate.
Exactly, I need to interrogate him.
Praanz will give Erald the bonus die for being there and helping out. So roll your 4 dice there, Erald, for attacking the lieutenant. The lieutenant is
Non-lethal.
defensive this time. That was a terrible roll. Erald, my friend. Erald, are we saying that you maybe...
I'm gonna lean into an experience.
Fought many younglings during your years at the Golden Rug.
Yeah. So I can't remember how the experiences work here, Mikkel, and I apologize. Is it 1 dice or all dice?
You can re-roll any dice. So you can re-roll the 1, the 2, and the 1.
Yeah,
Did I
I'm
just
gonna
hear you execute Order 66? Is that what happened?
Exactly.
Shh.
Just imagining a little
See,
more
this
Anakin at the temple.
This is why me and the Shagulites kind of get along a little.
3d6
Yeah, so
for the lieutenant
3d6.
there.
Yeah.
It's because Josh is usually the psychopath.
I rolled ridiculously good for the lieutenant right now. I'm just sorry. But,
Yeah, no, I've seen that too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna re-roll the 1s and the 2.
3d6.
Stupid question, is a 4 a success?
Yes.
Or no? Okay.
4 is a success.
Alright.
You have 2 successes and he has 3. Which means that he manages to get inside the staff and give 2 points of damage. I'm gonna give 1 each, I guess? So, yeah. Which means that Praanz's armor actually protects her this time, because that's what light armor does.
So now I just command the giant to knock him unconscious.
Yeah, that's gonna end
Done.
the fight.
I command the giant to knock him unconscious.
Yeah. That's gonna end the whole thing really fast. The giant has
It will specify, don't kill, knock out cold.
5d6, 6d6. 4 of them are
Relax.
strength. 4 of them are strength. 1 is weapon reach, and 1 is expert on clubs.
Much better.
I think he just brained the guy.
Yes,
Oh.
he did.
I feel like the rebellion had like one competent dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
Aberlach
took me
steps
a giant to take him out, so...
Poof. And, I mean, I'm sorry. He didn't mean to hit him so hard, you know.
Is he
Argue in the
mostly
swamps.
alive?
No.
Oh.
He went baseball bat style over the head, and now the head is somewhere over there, and the rest of him is there. Like,
So who was the second in charge to the lieutenant?
Aberlach has just invented golf. You can hear the ploosh as the head hits the water in the swamp.
I'm sure that will have no consequences later whatsoever.
None.
No, not at all.
Yeah, the rest of them have either been killed by your own troop of soldiers or tried to flee, so the group is apprehended now.
Round up the rest of them alive, take them to the garrison, put them in the cell till I get there.
Yes, Colonel.
Is there anybody running this damn camp that wasn't part of a rebellion?
That's a good question. You do have your old friend Suladon Rumperlack, who you convinced to act as your eyes and ears.
I imagine everybody is suddenly claiming that really they didn't believe in this whole rebellion business. They were forced into it.
Yeah. There were people who died because they ate something bad. Apparently, it must have been. I mean, now we understand it was poison, but then yeah. So these new transfers from the Sulfur Convoy apparently outranked anyone else. That they speak with an accent, they're all part of the Empire, right? We don't,
Apparently
judge.
not.
The only one you can trust is the last one you want in charge.
Yep.
Are we talking to Suladon?
Yeah, I need to figure out what happened.
Colonel.
Did my sulfur camp get taken over by rebels?
Oh, well.
And how did you not fucking know about it? Blood dripping down her face.
Exactly. Why don't you roll your very first intimidation roll? Three dice of water against Suladon's 2. You rolled terribly today.
Apparently, he's not that intimidated. I used all my good rolls earlier.
Yeah. Suladon will not be impressed by this. Unless you have an experience you can use for this, do you?
I talked him into doing shit.
Yeah, but we've already used that
I've
one.
already used that one.
Yeah.
Swordplay? My swordplay one?
Nah. That's for fighting. Yeah.
Just give me a sec. I have to look at my...
No, that you caught your cousin stealing. You only have the one left, and it doesn't really apply.
Also, if I were planning on fishing a necromancer out of the bay, I would get that dude's head, bring it with me. Just saying.
True.
There.
Oh, but hold on. You have your reputation to think about, don't you?
I do.
And I might need to add some dice to your roll there for your reputation. Let's have a look.
Also, the whole town thinks I burnt down the trader's house.
Yep.
I don't know if that helps, but it might make me a little scarier.
Maybe.
I mean, they think you burned down House Shakello, they think you burned down the infirmary. Even if it's not true, that's the rumor that everyone's been spreading.
Intense, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Rumors is all that really matters.
Such a firebug.
There's also going to be a rumor that I probably killed the head of the garrison because he's pissing me off.
Wait, you didn't?
Not yet.
Rumor.
He's still alive right now. I mean, not for very long.
Honestly, you're better served by just feeding him a constant supply of alcohol so he just stays in his room.
You know what? I'm gonna give you 3 more dice for all of that, including your reputation. Because, you outrank him considerably, and you are pretty scary. So, there we go. Much, much better. Yeah, he kind of shrivels up a bit. Yeah, he's not comfortable with this.
So, what happened to my sulfur camp and how did the rebels get it?
Well,
He's got this, maniacal look.
You understand. I mean,
At this point, she puts her sword to his throat. Do I have to torture
some people
you?
Died. Some people died. Some people died. Yes, some people died. Yes.
Who died?
The commander died. Yes. He
Why
died.
was I not informed?
I don't know. I'm not a soldier.
You were supposed to inform me.
I have been busy taking care of the sulfur, yes.
You were still supposed to send word. If you're going to be useless,
There was
you're not going to live.
dead people here. There were dead people here.
Yes, they were everywhere.
I'm sure yeah, he's...
I really have no time for useless. Tell me everything now, and I might think about letting you live. You don't, and you'll die slow and painfully.
Well, apparently a group of Transmuran rebels were in the part of the group that came with the sulfur convoy. The shift change. You know, every year about a quarter of the troop gets relieved and goes back. So these new recruits, they were all from Transmura, a tight-knit group, and some of them, it appears, killed the high-ranking officers here, and then the only people who was left was them who were in charge. So they started working on things. They planned it all. They locked the gates. I couldn't leave. That's why I couldn't tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
They locked the gates. It was an order.
No wonder this town is falling apart. Everybody in it is fucking incompetent.
But I couldn't leave. They were watching us. I'm
fine.
so happy that
send...
you liberated me.
I will send protection.
Oh, yes. Yes. He prostrates himself.
I'll command what's left of my guards that I brought down with me to stay, keep things running, clean things up, while I arrange for their protection.
Indeed. Yeah, it's not going to be too hard to identify the miscreants and evildoers, because now you have Suladon to rat them out. Suladon, who always goes with whomever happens to be in charge right now. Very dependably so. You also have the interesting situation that a lot of those barrels there in the middle are in fact not at all sulfur. It is in fact black powder. So apparently someone here, Cough the apothecary, has used a lot of the sulfur and turned it into black powder. For the specific purpose of blowing the camp up, apparently. Or at least blowing you up, because, you know, that the fuse was lit and you were there.
Yep. So I will take the black powder with me.
Yep.
To use against the zombies. And... I'll have the apothecary arrested.
No, but Colonel, I have only obeyed you! There will be a lot of screaming.
Then how did they get the black powder to assassinate me?
I was forced. I only worked under duress, Colonel. You have
I need to be sure of that.
They were
Obviously, you're
threatening
not
my
safe
life.
here. Obviously, you're not safe here. Come with me.
Abrilax will walk over. Well, boss, we've rounded up all the prisoners. Knuckles his forehead. Now what, boss? I can take any orders, boss.
They will have to be taken back to the garrison for talking to.
Yes, boss. Now you all follow me because that guy is no longer in command here because I knocked his head off. and I'm in command here now, so I'm Captain Aberlax. Thank you very much, right? He's looking to you, Praanz.
You're doing an excellent job. You can stay in command until I send somebody to relieve you.
He's doing the most sort of cow-legged salute and attention you've ever seen, but now you have won
This is
him
the best
over
idea.
forever. You have given him his first command. The pride is enough to make his head explode. Or would be if he wasn't so large. Yes, boss. I will do everything for you, boss. You heard it, you rats. Everybody's kind of like, no, what has the colonel done?
Try not to kill any of these soldiers. We need them.
Yes, boss. I'll try. I'm gonna try not to kill you, and they're just sheer terror right now.
You gave the toddler a gun.
Yes.
Good job.
Praanz is good at that.
Oh dear. Meanwhile,
Alright,
yeah.
I'm gonna go put my eldest to bed while you guys do another scene.
Things, yes. Some maze balls. Malek. Has Malek shifted anything at the moment? No, we were gonna do the mentalist magic, weren't we? To try to locate things, people, personages.
Yes. It doesn't precisely neatly fall under any of the suggested abilities, but I'm hoping we can pull a little bit of shenaniganry between clairvoyance and inception, trying to reach out to Malek.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with shenaniganry.
Yes, so in this game, it's like explicitly stated, the GM is not allowed to say no to any spell attempt. Okay? If you can invent an effect, all I have to do is go yes and or yes but. So all I can do here is say, of course you can do that kind of thing with mentalism, because this is mentalism after all. The question is only what difficulty level we want to look at here. And I think, like, it depends on the range, really. You're basically trying to do a clairvoyance over a fairly large area. So let's have a look at the astral projection thing, because that's basically what this is, except it's not as dangerous. Astral projection. Let's have a look. Where is it? Etheric body. On the same landmass, it's difficulty 3. Okay, I'll set it to that. Yeah, that would be it. So it's going to be difficulty 3 too, because you don't know where Malek might be. Malek might be anywhere in town. That's a pretty large area to search. There is also one other problem. Like last time you heard of Malek, Malek had walked off a bridge and in the pier and into the actual ocean. Magic doesn't work on water unless you are an aquamancer. So the limit of your range will be the water line. If Malek were to be on a ship, for example, you can't reach Malek there. That's a problem. This is a magical principle in this setting. On the same landmass is literally the words we're using here, because that's. I mean, you could do unlimited within Trakoria for difficulty 4. So I guess you could find beyond the shores. Like it's kind of silly in a way, or frustrating for a spell user. So if we look at the Marjura map, like you're in Arhem, and for you to do this mentalism thing on people on the east side of the island would be a lower difficulty than you searching for Malek on a ship in the fourth because of that water effect.
Isn't there like a way she could enter something equivalent? Because I seem to recall in mentalism there's a way to sort of walk within dreams.
Yes.
Not as powerful as that necessarily, but a whole like, hey, knock knock kind of situation.
Yeah, that's true. To walk in the friend of a dream. Oh, right, like that. So, but you want to walk in the friend of someone unknown or hostile, you have to win a conflict roll. Okay, let's go with that. Because in that case, it is a conflict roll against the person you're targeting. That might be slightly easier. I will give that person... let's see now. Every person beyond the first gives... Okay, I'm going to give the person in question a bonus die for depending on where they are. And I believe you're still in the spot that we talked about last time, right? Yes. So that's a bonus die for you. And then we get Lady Taralese da Bravaleti. You will do your thing. Also, because you are still... Are you still fearful? Have you healed up the fear there?
I'm trying to remember. It's been a night since
then
we had that.
Then you don't have the fear anymore.
Okay.
Or did you do mentalism in the morning though? The procurator, wasn't that when you got the fear?
No, I had gotten the fear when I was looking at the horrors that Min had seen in the Iron Tower.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was last day. Yeah, okay. So you have received that back. Good, because otherwise Malek would get another die.
I'd apologize, but I'm really not sorry.
Okay, so you have 3 dice for wind, plus 1 for mentalism, for your fate die there, I'll remove. 4 dice for you. Malek gains, has also 4 dice. So there we go.
Although, Taralese was, recruiting Callisto to help her.
Yes. Oh, you're gonna do a ritual thing. Callisto will help out. That will actually make a difference.
Yes, we're going full on seance here.
Yes, and 2 spellcasters versus 1, then you guys definitely have an edge. I will roll hers then. And she's doing the thing too. I guess I have to spend more for my own fate dice pool. And on your allies. I only have 5 left. Soon I'll have to do like challenges against you guys. That's that, right? I'll roll for Callisto. That will be 5d6. And that's an amazing roll. So you gain plus 2 dice to your spellcasting, Taralese. So now you have 3... are you doing a ritual as well? That will take a whole scene? Because that could give you another die. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right.
And Malek will have 4.
So.
Wow!
Callisto and Taralese together are terrifying.
Yes! I mean, a single failure is not even in that roll, and it's 3 sixes.
Not that it matters, but Malek relents, because possibly foolishly, but he is expecting to be contacted by someone else entirely.
Describe the sensation, if you will.
Of being contacted, or what she gets off?
Taralese, what does Malek feel?
She would feel someone who just kind of seems to be like gently probing around. You know, it's kind of like if he's ever been in a situation like a communal living situation, like in a tent, especially when someone's trying to feel around where bodies are to not disturb the wrong person. So it's like a gentle pressure at first until finally there's that recognition, and then it pushes harder.
I imagine what Taralese feels, at least initially, is an overwhelming sense of relief. Take from that what you will.
She's definitely taken aback by that. Before, is this Malek I'm reaching? It feels like it.
Oh, it's you. I suppose that explains a few things. The relief turns to crushing disappointment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you expecting another person to be contacting you? Would that happen to be your friend with the staff in the tower?
Ah, you are familiar with the Patriarch.
The Patriarch, that's what he's called. Lovely, I have a name for him. So I guess the real question then is, what are you to him, and what exactly is he up to? You seem surprised by this, the fact that you ran away so quickly, and what my men told me at the fisheries.
Ah, yes. They were yours then. Interesting. I was indeed surprised. I have been waiting to hear. I have heard nothing.
So he's keeping you in the dark, is that it?
Something like that.
The way I see it, the fact that he didn't warn you at all about this. We have a common enemy. He clearly does not have your best interests at heart. And...
What do you want?
Pardon?
What do you want?
Well, first of all, I'm curious why you're over by the Reaver's daughter. But secondly, it seems that our friend in white that you were so communicative with at the dinner has a proposition for you.
Really?
Yes, I was quite surprised as well, but he was rather adamant about it. So, if you're willing to meet on, say, neutral ground, maybe down there by the docks, I think he has something to say to you.
I suppose you could find me anyways. Very well. Not the docks, though.
And where would you propose?
The fisheries will serve.
I can agree to that. Very well. How about we say later this afternoon? I'm unfortunately not certain how long it will take them to return.
Yes, it's a bit of a swim.
Wonderful. We'll say about 2 hours past high sun. That work?
Can I get there in that time, Mikhail?
Yeah. It's not far. Nothing here is far. Again, across the town is 300 meters.
Oh, okay. Very well.
This is not a big place. It's a glorified village that has swollen up considerably with population due to the cruise ships that just arrived.
Cruise ships.
Yes.
Good, that gives Malek time to haul himself out of the water and at least be somewhat presentable.
Let himself drain out.
Reapply his perfume.
Yep.
It's important.
Very well. Well, I guess I'm a little conflicted in hoping if your patriarch contacts you or not. Maybe we'll both learn something enlightening if he does.
That seems unlikely at this juncture.
Most probably. Anyway, toodles.
Toodles. Someone has a phone.
I would go ahead and detach myself from my current vehicle.
Yep.
Schlick.
And go swimming back. Try
So
not to be spotted.
one rationale here for why it actually works is as long as Malek is somehow in connection with the landmass, so the Reaver's daughter is tied to the pier ropes are tied to the Reaver's daughter, Malek holds on to the Reaver's daughter, that's kind of a connection.
It's fine.
You're grounded.
Yeah, exactly. But if Malek is sitting on the bottom of the Firth, then no, you can't reach Malek with the mentalism because the water's going to block. So that's a magical principle. It's the bond of the land is the rule. How Aquamancers do it, nobody really understands.
The irony of Malek hiding on the bottom of the Reaver's daughter.
Why I picked it.
Also, wind masters can command winds above the ocean, probably because they're not touching the ocean, right? They cheat too.
So they have to carry around a jar of dirt.
Yes, that would help.
Technicalities.
I get a jar of dirt. All right.
Loopholes. My kingdom for a loophole.
Exactly. All right. So Erald and the bunch are coming back from the garrison.
With prisoners.
You have done your ritual. All of that is going to take place at the same time and take about as much time. So I'm going to say it's 9 o'clock now in the morning. Sitting outside, as you're actually going back there, Praanz, sitting outside the tavern, you will recognize some people that you haven't seen for a little while. Namely, Gistaki and Dija Damagi and Roba Redcalf, the 3 adventurers who traveled with the same ship, the Reaver's daughter, as extra hands on the ship. They're sitting outside the tavern and having some kind of breakfast and looking around each other nervously. They seem very tired too, like completely knocked out.
You 3 seem to have less energy than the last time I saw you.
They just like that. Oh, Colonel.
I mean, I know I'm frightening, but I didn't know I was that frightening.
Roba gets up and just, Colonel, and takes off her hat. And
Yes.
so, we're but tired. We just came into town, you see. Yes.
From where?
From the north.
Where were you up north?
We heard a rumor that an archaeological dig was going on up there and wanted to see if there might be some interesting discoveries that we could make. And
What did you see at the dig?
the faces of Deidre and Gistaki says it all. They're absolutely stone-faced and freaked out. Yes,
Tell me,
yes.
what did you see at the dig, dear?
Oh, nothing at all. You see, it was nothing. It's not worthwhile going there. Let's just say there's no profits to make. It's much better to just do
I'm
some
not
busking here.
interested in profits, but I am interested in what happened. What's got you so frightened, especially after your time on the Reaver's daughter?
Since I'm there, can I make a machinator check?
You can absolutely do that.
Good.
Man, you are spending all my dice. She will resist that, of course. We're now back to 19 dice in the chalice.
That's I can never
Erald?
remember. I apologize. Is it wind or water?
It is water.
Water. Okay.
I mean, after all, you remember what happened to that.
So 2 plus 1, basically. So 3 dice, and you have your insight, and I will roll
moronic pirate
3
that
dice.
attacked our ship, and how he was tortured and chummed. I mean, after watching that, I don't think anything could possibly bother you.
Oh, well, you see. Okay, Machinator, Insight. You can guess their true motivations. You win, so I must reveal something about the NPC's motivations or goals. This NPC's motivation is to catch the next ship to Trakoria. Freaked out beyond belief, just want to get out of here. That's it.
I need to know what happened.
Yeah, so I look at them and say, so it's got you that badly spooked, huh?
At this point, Praanz is insistent, still bleeding, and she's got a bit of a wild look after
Yeah, and with a
stopping the
scar
rebellion.
too.
Yeah.
Why don't we have you roll your... you're doing an intimidation thing again, aren't you? And being a colonel and everything. So, how about 6 dice? That's including the scar and your rank and everything.
My God, I don't think I could roll worse.
Well, that's 3 successes, which is going to be enough, because I'm not going to spend another fake die on Roba. Roba kind of looks down, and Gistaki looks up. The dead rose.
Yes, we knew that.
Yeah, old news.
We met the archaeological expedition. They opened a tomb.
Did they make the dead rise?
Yes.
Stupid fucking morons.
They opened a tomb.
The
And-
dead didn't happen to go towards the druids when they rose, did they? 'Cause I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Oh, we did not stay to look. We left as soon as we could. The king of the dead rose.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
King of the Dead?
Yes. They were
Did he have
fighting him, but they managed to at least bring down the mount on top of him. The tomb on top of him. Yeah.
Erald, this day is giving me a migraine.
So
Listen,
the king of the
I'm
dead is
enjoying
locked
this.
in the tomb now, but everywhere else there were dead people waking up in the mire, in the swamps.
Yes, well, we are going to go take care of that, but unfortunately you cannot leave at the moment as I have the entire city on lockdown until we take care of the dead problem.
I hope you succeed.
I plan to. At this point, Praanz looks like she could use a stiff drink.
Yeah. In fact, Deidre will go up to Praanz as all this is going up. You know, it's interesting, she says, and she's kind of swaggering a little bit with her hips as if she can't resist doing the seductive walk. I mean, Erald is there, and maybe it works on Praanz. You never know. You know, it's so good to have a strong woman in charge. And she puts, like, both her hands on your biceps.
I cannot imagine 2 less likely targets.
I am going to roll her water for her to try to charm herself.
I mean, I've
Don't say
never
Mereld.
suggested which way Praanz swings, so sure.
I have no idea how Praanz swings. That's up to you. But her
Not in
roll
Deidre's
was
direction.
terrible. That was just a terrible roll.
Not today, dear. I've got a headache.
Well,
That's so much worse.
and she smiles viciously. It might interest you that I met someone there that I recognize.
Now that does interest me.
Sifanu da Krimbid.
Hmm.
He is,
How do I know this person?
well, let's put it this way. His grandfather was El Mesum, a very powerful Cargamishan symbolist. I believe he walks in his grandfather's steps.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a terrible player. What does that mean to me again? Is it somebody I want to
Nothing at
kill or
all.
want to help?
Do you have
Okay.
no cargo missions, like, wild...
Those are certainly all words.
Exactly.
Exactly. This is how Praanz is feeling. Like, this is going in one ear and out the other now.
You can roll a win check, which is like the one die, to see if Praanz knows anything about this stuff, but, you know...
Praanz knows nothing.
Hashtag no. Yeah, that's a lot of words. I don't know what they
Can
mean.
you eat it?
And I
And
stab
I kill
it.
it.
Exactly. Pretty much. She thinks that she has done an obviously great reveal of some kind, but... I suppose this is when Praanz leaves this company behind and returns to the garrison.
Stay safe, folks. I have some tortures to conduct.
Indeed. With the soldiers and the Erald, and Aberlux is still in the camp, right? And he's in command of the camp. Poor sods. Oh dear.
I don't care as long as the place keeps running at this point. I
Yeah.
have bigger fish to fry,
You
and
do
not enough
indeed.
soldiers to go around.
Yep. Is this the place where we do a fast forward cut to when Taralese meets with Malek? Because I think Praanz might be busy in the garrison, and Erald as well.
Yes, Praanz will be busy because she will be torturing the rebels.
Yep. Oh, there is someone who will help you with that, of course. Master Gulser. He's the local torturer.
Praanz is quite the expert. He's mostly just there to hold her tools.
Now Master Gulser. Let's see. Now I think I have his. Yeah, there we go. I didn't put the actual numbers in because I didn't think I'd have to use him. But here we are, aren't we? Yes.
That's what happens when you try to assassinate me with rebels.
Master Gulser is a huge fellow, and very happy to use his red-hot irons in the basement. And also overzealous, and maybe not the smartest person ever. Very
Oh,
physical.
no, dear. Hold back. If you apply it just so,
Yeah.
it does far more efficient damage.
And there will be screams. Fade to black. Malek and Lady Taralese will meet somewhere.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I very much hope Erald's joining her because she set it up for him.
Oh, is Erald coming?
Definitely.
Malek's plan is to arrive at least a little early to make sure I'm not about to be jumped. Reapply the perfume, and then stand ominously at the end of the docks, mean mugging any fishermen who get too close.
Will Klenora send an NPC to help Lady Taralese? You have influence too there.
Yeah, she is in fact going to have her lovely contact there at the fisheries helping out, especially having been a former soldier.
Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. So he has, implements that can be used accordingly. Probably a big club at this point because he's not a soldier.
That's the other reason I'm standing on the end of the dock so I can dive back.
But
into the
also
fucking
a
bay if I
short
have to.
sword and a sizable cudgel, like, to protect the good lady. Just a bodyguard, you understand. Yeah, ma'am. And he holds like his floppy sort of cap. It's one of those with a long thing that goes down. And when Lady Taralese comes there, he'll just take it off his hat and then put it back on again, knuckle his forehead, stand there with a cudgel. While Erald and Lady Taralese goes out to the pier to meet the Malek.
Probably have my hands stuffed in my sleeves because I imagine the fingers on my gloves are not in very good shape after all of that.
Indeed.
Taralese will wave over with her fan. Oh, wonderful! You did show up. I was a little concerned. I must admit.
I didn't have any other plans.
Wonderful. Well, I was also a little worried that you may be a little too waterlogged by the time you actually got here. But I'm happy to see that you didn't completely rot away.
Thank you.
Erald kind of smiles at that comment. So, this is awkward. Looks directly at Malek at this point. I need your help.
I'm listening.
The zombies, and the fact that, and basically looks up and down at this point, assuming you're probably still partially wet.
Oh, yes. Soggy.
Yeah, so
Dripping.
the zombies, I have a really sneaking suspicion probably weren't you. And I can't really do too much about the zombies, to be honest, other than maybe calling in some friends. And my hired hand is no longer... Well, I think you may know where my hired hand is, but we'll get to that eventually. But in the meantime, zombies. I need your help to figure out how to deal with them. And considering you're probably the first person that I would assume probably raised the zombies, but the fact you ran away leads me to believe it's probably not you, but you probably could help with it. So that's about as far as I got. And in exchange for this, I'll leave you on my not immediately going to deal with list.
How generous. First of all, they're not zombies, they're restless. A subtle distinction, but it's a difference of default states, I suppose you could say. When raising someone from the dead, their default state is to be inert, lifeless. It's only the power of the magic that keeps them going. In this case, near as I can tell, something ancient has caused a shift in the default such that it no longer requires any particular focus or upkeep to ensure the dead walk. That is now their default state.
So, funny you should mention that. Earlier, when I was there, back at the garrison, I believe it was the garrison, I apologize. The inn on the way to the garrison, sorry. Earlier when I was at the inn, there was actually an interesting thing of note for the group that followed out the archaeological expedition. Some of them actually came back scared out of their wits, to the point where one of them literally would rather probably swim across the ocean than stay on land now, due to the restless, yes.
A wise strategy. No effect can spread across water unless you are an aquamancer.
So, news to myself. So, my point being, they mentioned that there was a tomb that was disturbed. And that, and I quote, "The king of the dead was awoken by these archaeological expedition crew, and they had difficulty disposing of him after waking him, and he's currently now residing somewhere along the lines from here to there." So if I had to put two and two together, talking about your power of magic that's been shifted, it's probably him being awoken. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to deal with that.
Yes. I can assist in the short term with respect to curtailing some of the effects, but this is far beyond my capabilities to counter this entirely.
Oh, and I wholeheartedly understand that this is bigger than yourself and myself. This is more along the lines of, I'd rather have you in my metaphorical corner, assisting us, than having to fight on two fronts.
Understood.
So I will be sending correspondence as soon as boats are available to see if there's any additional assistance that can be granted here to the island on this front. But in the meantime, we still need to deal with what's here.
Yes.
If I can cut in here, I suppose the real question then is, do you also wonder if perhaps the King of the Dead and your patriarch are one and the same? Certainly he looked rather dead when I saw him.
He's quite alive, I can assure you. In a manner of speaking, anyway. I don't believe that they are the same person, no. That would be out of character to claim as a title.
So
I have to wonder why it is that I have not heard anything. Either, it seems to me, either the Patriarch is as yet unaware of what has happened, which seems impossible if I felt it. Those at the Iron Tower must have too. Or the Iron Tower has fallen, very unlikely. Or most likely of all, they have left me here to take the fall.
So we're in agreement then that your patriarch is not the friend you thought he was. At least to you.
Patriarch is not known for having many friends.
Alliances. Regardless, your loyalties to him, I'm guessing, are a little bit shaky right now.
Just tell me what you want.
You're good at the whole controlling the Restless thing. I'm certain, even as much as you like to proclaim that you're not a powerful mage, and she kind of smiles knowingly, looking at Malek. I think I have a fairly decent idea that you're much more capable than you give yourself credit for. What we need is someone who can help with crowd control of the Restless, which I'm fairly certain you can help with that.
For a time, yes. What we will most likely need to do is find this force, understand the mechanism, and see what can be done to reverse it. It's not going to stop.
Well,
as I can tell.
based off everything that I know, and it's very limited at this point, and pretty much told you what I've figured out, I think probably the king has definitely something to do with it. So I think the first step is figuring out where this tomb was disturbed and seeing if there's a way that we can deal further with this king.
Does the infirmary still stand?
And in the meantime, to voice the same as Lady Taralese here, I think probably you'll be the best suited to deal with any current threats in the city.
I'll help to the extent that I can. I should go back to the infirmary and see if there's anything in my notes.
Excellent.
I think perhaps you should give us a list of what you're looking for. Praanz is in a little bit of a mood right now.
I'm not interested in having you go through my things.
Fair enough.
I appreciate the offer, however.
It's your life, not mine, or own life. Regardless, and she'll close her fan with a snap, it sounds like we have a path forward, at least somewhat, going to the dig site.
Yes.
I'm certain if I can get my hands on the map, I may be able to figure out where it is. He was prattling on about it the whole 6 weeks.
I'm sure I can figure it out. There may also be a way to get communications to the outside more quickly.
Excellent. Because yes, if there's any means that we can do that, then it'll be more beneficial than trying to go by both. At least bring some that would be more knowledgeable than myself here.
Yes.
Wonderful. So why don't we meet again, say, in a day? Give you time to go and collect your things, communicate with whomever you need to, and give us time to communicate with whomever we need to, and we'll meet at the Reaver's Daughter.
And in the interim, we will make sure that Praanz stays off your back. As a show of good faith.
I appreciate it.
Oh, I think you brought enough to keep her entertained for quite some time. I don't think I've seen her that happy in ever.
Happy is the word.
You're a perplexing group.
Oh, darling, I'm a noble. That's my job.
Seems we have an accord.
Malek just kind of like awkwardly waits for the team that's currently blocking the pier to leave. So
Yep. And then the question is, what's your next actions? Praanz is busy interrogating the hapless Transmiran rebels.
Interrogating?
Yeah. I mean, ow, we did it, yes. Defiance,
She's trying to find out if there's any like higher ups behind it, and if there's anyone else she needs to destroy.
Ah, yes.
Torture for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she is pissed about the face and the assassination attempt, but torture for a purpose.
She will get a name eventually.
She takes her sweet time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But she will get a name. There is one important agent of Lemur Spedes in Arhem, or around Arhem. They don't know where she is exactly. But her name is Nefria da Kolhala.
Interesting.
She is apparently an agent of Lemur Spede, working for the... So Lemur Spede, again, for those who need an update, he is a guerrilla leader of Trismira. He's the militant faction of... There's two sides to the Trismira resistance to the Empire. And the other side is trying to do the reformist path and convince the Trakorian authorities to return a substantial amount of self-governance to the island by diplomacy. They're tolerated as, like, the official opposition, I guess, because they're not actually fighting people. Lemur Spede is not one of those. They are much more militant. They are doing guerrilla attacks. They're blowing up shipments, anything they can to disrupt the occupation.
IRA-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. So
Well,
apparently
that's
this
interesting.
Nefria is one of his agents.
Well, that will be informed.
Aye. Yeah, that was really... I should have done my complete, like, Braveheart. Freedom! But just saying freedom doesn't sound very different in Scottish than it does in other English, so... There we go. You can take our lives, but you cannot take your island!
At that point, once she's gotten the information she wants, she just ends their suffering.
Yeah, they will say words to the effect of, you can take our lives, but you cannot take our island.
Except they already kind of took their island.
Yeah. Oh, sweetie,
Yeah.
I already have. It belongs to me.
And then that's the end of these Transmuron agents.
Friend's gonna mess with me when I go back to the infirmary.
No. Praanz understands that you are currently a necessary evil.
Yes, what
And
is the...
In all honesty, Praanz actually has no issue with necromancy. It just happens to be against the law.
Not really, to be honest. It's against Inquisitor law, but Trakorian law doesn't
It's
really
immoral,
care.
not illegal.
There you go. And I don't think
Right.
Digitalonga cares. It's like, if
No.
these nefarious necromancers are threatening the security of the realm, yeah, then it's a problem.
Praanz has to pretend it's a problem until she needs it.
Yeah.
Right now, I need you.
Yeah, and so Malek is going to do sort of like retrieve whatever of his resources are still left in the infirmary after the takeover, and sort of consult various documents and such. Possibly repair to his library in the villa as well. See about trying to figure out if there's any indication whatsoever of what this might be, other than just, there's a King of the Dead, there was an old tomb. Probably that, but okay, but what do I do about it?
I mean, that is the real question here. What can Malek find out? I mean, if you want to roll a win check here, obviously your library will help you with a die. And if you do have some levels of learning that you could put fate dice into.
Yeah, well, this is now quite important to Malek, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
So then you have
fate
3,
die and a die of
4,
my
6 altogether.
library. So I think that puts me at 6 dice.
Yes, correct. You roll way too well.
It's 3 successes.
Okay, that is a lot. And a 6 there as well, so it's not even at cost. Okay.
I'm imagining him just like camped out in his own living room, just surrounded by books.
Yep. Okay, this would probably take too long to type, to be honest. So what Malek will find as Malek goes through the books and looks at maps over Marjura and so on and so forth. Some interesting references and some interesting conclusions to be made. Kruri is the area for the dig site. Kruri is known for the locals as a taboo land, a land where horrible things happen, people disappear, ghosts walk the land, things like that. As far as Shagulites are concerned, none of that has ever happened. The locals are just superstitious, and that's fine. There's nothing in particular of value there. It's never been anything of value there for the Shagulites. However, some 30 years ago, and this is why Trakoria invaded Arhem eventually, Tassenbar Herbmaster, the very knowledgeable Sintald, the academic from the academy in Tresilva, visited the island. This was before it was a colony, and discovered 2 things. First of all, he was here chasing signs of an ancient civilization predating Trakoria and even the Clavikian Empire. In some of the notes there, he speaks about, this is the words of Tassenbar Herbmaster now, about some kind of realm that might have existed like 1,000 years ago, even before the Jorpanian Empire that originally settled the islands of Trakoria. And he was convinced that the languages of Rung on northern Transmura and Kargom are the shall we say, latter-day developments from this ancient civilization. That's the evidence of the civilization today is the languages in Kargum and Rung that still exist. Notably, no other academic ever took anything of this seriously. The Rungli and the Kargumitians are uneducated barbarians. Why are you trying to link these guys to a high-standing civilization? That's just silly. And he went here and he went to Kruri to prove his point. Unfortunately, he never found the evidence he was looking for. There was some interesting pieces, though. There were some stones with etchings in a very, very ancient tongue that he found. But when he got back to the Academy in Tresilva, they still laughed at him over it. He never managed to convince any of the learned people of his theories at all. So that theory was forgotten until just now when this archaeological expedition came, led by Breyer, to prove that Tausenbar had been right all those years ago. That language has been identified as the dead language of Ithilgrom. Nobody can read it. It's like hieroglyphs before the Rosetta Stone. Yeah, that's about, I think, what you can discern from these documents. Apparently, this civilization, so Tausenbar argued, would have been centered around Krui, because that's where he went to dig.
Makes sense. I'm guessing Malek doesn't speak Kargamishan or Rungli.
That's probably true. I mean, with learning, he actually might be able to. The language rules here are fairly generous. The moment you unlock the learning ability, you will also be able to access linguistic capacity in ways that people without it.
He might be able to get by if he has his books, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that could happen, yeah. So, everybody is assumed to be able to read simple stuff, but this, with education, with learning, you have like a scholarship level. And you get to roll your knowledge when you meet a strange language in speech or writing. Difficulty is normally 2, but it could be higher for dead or strange languages.
And if you succeed, going to be extremely high in this case.
Yeah. If you succeed, you can speak the language or read the language to some extent. And then you only roll for that once, and you jut down if you succeeded with that. So, yeah, that's unless you have an expertise, unless you wrote a treatise on dead languages specifically, in which case, of course. But that's how learning
certainly
works.
Not Malek's specialty.
Indeed. But yeah, that I think maybe it might be time to reevaluate Tausenbar Herbmaster's findings. He might have been closer to the truth than anyone thought.
This information is conveyed to the rest of the group in a very dry and rambling and extremely academic cadence. Several of you probably want to strangle me before you sort of get to the good stuff.
Praanz looks a little agitated by the time you get there. So what you're telling me is a bunch of idiot archaeologists came over here, dug up things they shouldn't have dug up, and now we're facing an undead army?
Yes.
Can I
Really
kill
just
it?
one idiot.
I'm sorry?
Can I kill it?
I'm... Right, you missed my speech about the change in the defaults, you see. Killing it won't fix things. It will just make more restless.
Even if I light it on fire?
So what exactly do you propose? I don't know about you, but my feeling of it was that this is...
If I can bring... I have traveled in that part of the world before. If I can bring my books to Kruri, and I can find enough of the language to give me some context, I may be able to read it.
And if you can read it, can you put it back to sleep?
I don't know. But that is the only thing I can think of to do. There was record of some etchings in an ancient tongue thought to be related to Rumley and Cargamishan that were found.
You're sure firebombing your king won't work?
Sorry,
Not
dear.
Erald.
Magic doesn't work that way.
Also, what happened to your face?
There was some rebels at the Sulphur Camp. They were dumb. They died. She's also covered in blood from the torture.
Wait.
Is Nin
Rebels?
Nin
Really?
part of this group at all right now? Is Nin
Sorry?
is Nin Halaska? Is she part of this conversation at all right now?
I don't know. Did
I
Taralese
imagine
bring
she
her with
probably
her?
doesn't want to come anywhere near me.
I mean, pretty much, unless Praanz bulks at it, she's got Nin with her at all times.
Okay.
Okay.
Nin will interject. Colonel, think here. We have. This is not. You think this was a mistake from the archaeological expedition? This speaks to my theory all along. The Kmorda druids have been instigating a revolt here. They have connected with this.
The druids are all dead. All of them. Every single one.
Not
Wiped
all
out.
of them. There's one who remains.
There's one
Sorry.
who remains.
Most of them are dead.
The archaeological expedition. One of the members of the archaeological expedition is Nefria de Kolhala. We know this because we traveled with them. Right, Lady Taralese?
Yes, she was rather fond of the pipe and other things.
And did you share the Nefria de Kolhala word name, by the way, from the torturers to Nin and Lady Taralese at all? You didn't?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not
then
yet.
I cannot say
Haven't
that.
gotten there.
Then I'm so sorry. Those dots will not be connected. So sorry. I retcon that.
it's-
entirely.
No, but
No,
she is...
it's
Oh, good.
it when she mentions it, it does. Prawn stops for a second.
Well, she did. She could connect it like this. There were Transmuran rebels right now in the Sulphur Camp, because that's widely known by now, right?
Yeah.
And there was a
Sulphur
Transmuran
Camp.
in the archaeological expedition called Nefria. There was also a Palamuxia called Sir Artigu de Fontasilor. I don't know of his affiliations at all, but he's Palamuxi, so he's not Paratornian. That's suspicious. And I think 2 of them were Transmuran, actually. Yeah, the tracker was Transmuran too, remember?
Yes, I recall.
So, suddenly we have Transmurans in the Sulphur Camp, we have 2 Transmurans in the archaeological expedition, we have 1 Kmorda druid, we have a load of smuggled weapons, and they wake these Restless in Karuri, apparently, in that dig site in the archaeological...
If
I don't think that's a
that
coincidence.
Was done intentionally. They clearly didn't know what they were doing because that's more than they can handle. However, your little friend Nefria did attempt to assassinate me, so
Actually, I have a different theory.
This is all an attack on Trakoria.
Oh, certainly that. But I think perhaps this is goes a little bit higher, even higher
agree.
than Praanz's in your pay grade. There are certain things I found out. Having a conversation with the procurator, it seems that Duke Comesti and his little sphere of influence set you up for failure, Praanz.
of course they did.
Because it seems that your director sent you on a wild goose chase, as he and Duke Comesti are both the ones that sent the weapons here. with the adventurers that were traveling with Nin and I on our ship.
That explains your drunken monk friend.
I was wondering why you were targeting Master Scoffer.
Well,
Forgive me an observation, Colonel. You seem honest to a fault, and he was clearly not guilty of the accusations.
We suspected that he was hiding somebody who was guilty, and I simply was trying to overturn evidence on them.
well, and even past that, with the fact that Lemur clearly has influence here now. To me, it seems like perhaps the druid was used as a pawn.
It's
Perhaps
most likely the case.
she didn't know what she was doing. Honestly, with that girl, I think she would cry and have a full-on funeral if she accidentally killed a fly, given how she reacted. But anyway, I think she was in bad company, and so made bad decisions. But I think perhaps the New Sphere is more interested in gaining their power at any cost, even if it means perhaps arming the guerrillas.
Mikkel, the very, very beginning, the crazy singing people in the Nun that were sent over on the Daughter's Reaver with us.
Yeah.
Where did we send them again?
They disembarked on the east side of the island. Well, the crazy people did, not the Nun.
And the Nun just kind of wandered off.
Yep.
But I wonder if perhaps the Transmirans are all collaborating with the New Sphere, who's desperate. I mean, Duke Mesty's always been desperate. He's such a ladder climber.
So now the question is he collaborating with my boss and I was the pawn?
Like his hands are twitching like he wants to do something about it.
Or is my boss the pawn?
I think perhaps it's both, though I think your boss was the knowing pawn, and then of course made you an unknowing pawn.
I don't like being a pawn.
I don't think Duke Mesty would... Well, rather, I don't think Lemur Spade, given how hot-headed he is and fanatical he is, this is Nin speaking now, would do such a thing. Like, he's not gonna get in bed with any Trakorian at all, right? No, I'm pretty sure that Lemur Spade, if he is conspiring with anyone else in Trakoria, he's doing so unwittingly. Maybe Kamesti has disguised himself or sent agents there in disguise to talk to them.
Or maybe Kamesti's just handed over enough money.
Yes.
That
Yes,
could
to
happen
both.
too.
He just wanted to seize the sulfur camps to inconvenience the Empire.
I think perhaps, well, there's also that. He's desperate to get even richer. But you and I both know the name. And she's going to look knowingly at Nin. With a certain letter you had found.
We need to put all of that archaeological expedition on a list to be arrested as enemies of the Empire.
Tell me about the letter, Nin.
We're talking about the letter from Scoffer, right? The signed Molbrock?
Correct.
Yeah. Colonel, since we are putting all our pieces on the Smickle board together, Duke de Kamesti had sent a letter to Bottle Scoffer. And the letter was not to be opened by Scoffer, it was just to be distributed to the Procurator. It was a letter signed Molbrock, telling the Procurator about the hidden shipment of weapons. The plan was apparently to have this letter delivered early enough to the Procurator so he could go down there and seize the weapons and discover the plot.
Simply deliver them to me?
Something like that. But Molbrock...
But he's too drunk and incompetent.
No, because Baudeville didn't put the letter... Apparently it ended up at the bottom of the pile, so he only delivered it the day after the weapons had left the town. But Vaudeville didn't know it was an important letter, because the letter wasn't marked important. But the point is, Malbrook is Dicamesti. I compared handwritings. So
This is what happens when you have an incompetent assistant.
So we know that Duke Comesti lies behind this somewhere. I still say we put an arrest warrant out on all of the archaeological expedition.
I also trust you know that the ledger I recovered from your lodgings was a forgery. Malek says, looking at Lady Taralese.
Yes, that was unfortunately something that is required to help nudge things along.
Nudge is the word.
Also, will you please let me do something for your face? It's very distracting.
I like it that way.
It's going to get infected.
Why don't you
Sew
let
it up.
her sew it up and do a bad job of it so you get a lovely scar?
Okay.
Sounds like a kid that wanted 2 cookies and only got 1.
It's Praanz's turn to be mom-talked. You will sit on this couch, young lady, and you will let me fix your face.
Praanz is the one used to doing the mom talk, not being mom talked at.
This is so weird.
Yep. Yeah, you do need some. I mean, someone has already. So, a rule point of order that I didn't actually go into because I felt it didn't necessarily need to happen immediately. So, when you have been wounded by a sharp weapon, you will technically be bleeding unless there is someone there who can actually patch you up. So, someone with, say, the medicine ability. Now, the garrison is chock full of those people. There's going to be at least one person there who can do that. So I'm assuming that, because otherwise you'd take 1 damage per scene until someone has dealt with it, right? Because you're bleeding.
Praanz has kind of been using it to her advantage at the moment, though, because it looks more intimidating when I'm bleeding from my face as I'm screaming in yours.
Well, I mean, you would, bleed out and have to roll a death.
So what
roll
I'm hearing is she got patched up and then deliberately tore the stitches.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. She's not bleeding. She's not bleeding in a dangerous fashion anymore. That's the point. They have attended to her sufficiently so that her life is no longer at risk.
So next game, I have to remember to do makeup for like a big ass scar.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, like I'm assuming Malek just has some sort of medical supplies that I could use to make like a poultice or whatever you put on a.
Worst case scenario, she borrows some of like Lady Taralese's seamstress's like thread and needle.
You'll have a potion.
Yeah, some wonderful algae silk thread.
You can just sew it up. It doesn't even hurt that much.
Some ointment, some salve that you could put over the wound. I can roll for the potion makers.
It will start to itch in a few days if you don't treat it.
I can roll for the potion makers' ability to make it there. Let's see now.
Do you want to trust the potion maker?
No.
She doesn't know who the potion maker is.
I trust the Shagulite over the potion maker.
Yep. It actually works really well. It's a very good potion. It has no side effects. It's a potion of healing, which does exactly what it's supposed to do. So, Praanz will in fact get her stone back.
Okay.
She is no longer wounded.
We did say that the permanent consequence though was it left a scar.
Yep, we did say that. Okay. Because it's a permanent consequence, only magic can heal it.
Yep, and that's fine. Praanz is fine with the scar on her face. It seems rather fitting.
It's not going to get infected or itch or anything like that.
No,
yeah.
It won't.
No, it's scarred over.
So what's the next plan for the group? With all these intrigues, these weaves of conspiracy that are now in such a tangled web.
We are all being very honest with each other. I might as well admit that I spirited Vaudeville Scoffer out of town.
So he's not here for me to murder. Unfortunate.
So whose body did you leave behind that you were faking such curiosity about?
Sorry?
Whose body did you leave behind then? In his room. Or her room, should I say.
I'm going to need some more context.
Their body was found when the house, the trade house burnt down. We brought it to you for
Yes.
an autopsy.
Trovinda de Holmes.
Yes. I can tell you it wasn't, that person didn't die in a fire. They were killed someplace else and brought to the site, although I imagine you figured that out yourself already.
So, who did the murdering? Looks around the room.
Well,
No, my denial is not credible at this point. Nonetheless, it wasn't me.
well, wasn't there Trovinder? You seemed rather concerned about him at the ball. Looking at Praanz.
Yes, he, Travinder's a drunken monk.
And he did slip you a symbol, for lack of better terms. To look towards Malek.
Slipped me a what?
He marked you.
Interesting.
Well, you will recall in the ball, he gave you a clay frog that was striped. You weren't here. Jessica Birch wasn't here for that session.
Sorry.
But that is in fact
Yes,
what
it's
happened.
all coming back to me now. Yes. I thought that was odd at the time.
But yes, he
put a
was
note
not
in-
drunk at the ball.
I have a note for you in the chat there. What that means.
I'm not the best at reading people. This is news.
You wouldn't recognize it unless you're knowledgeable about different styles of fighting.
Really? But you're so wonderful at working with everybody.
I have my talents.
Darn it, I have no rebels left to torture.
So, I'm given to understand that the Transmiran rebels attempted to assassinate you.
Yeah, they tried to blow me up with some black powder.
I see.
I cut their fuse before they could.
Evidently.
Then there was a brawl. Oh, I should probably send somebody to take over for the giant.
I had wondered what would come of that wave of assassinations.
The werewolves that went on to the druidic temple with us.
The Wolfkin?
Yes, I will send one of them to take over for the giant.
Perhaps, as much as you dislike her, Nin might be a good candidate for now.
She will puff herself up a bit. Of course I can do this. Nowadays, she's in fact wearing light armor and a sword. She has completely discarded the whole Poda Arux bureaucrat persona.
Yes. Take one of the wolfkin. Be kind with the giant. I left him in quasi-command because I really didn't trust anybody else there at the moment.
Yes, Colonel.
So,
But now that we all remember what Malek looks like, I'm going to take my mask off because I want to eat my food.
it's fine.
And may I say, Colonel, it's such a pleasure to work with you. And she shakes your hand. A professional in action. And then she departs to take over the sulfur camp from Aberlux. Aberlux is not going to be happy about that, but he will obey.
I will look at Lady Taralese. Did you fix her too well?
I may have perhaps dug a little deeper than I intended, but I think it works out for everyone in the end. And if nothing else, you're preventing a second explosion, only this time it's a little less... preventing one that's going to be quite as gory, a little less explosive.
You know, I'm gonna... My fate dice are just disappeared. Maybe I won't even have any left in the Game Master pool after this session is done. For the first time ever. I'm gonna...
Hooray!
Yeah. I'm gonna roll my 3d6 here for Nin's Machinator, and I fail miserably.
Ugh.
Which means that Praanz or anyone else in the group here gets to roll... You know what? I'm gonna allow Lady Taralese, because she's the expert on this, to roll her wind. If you want to add a fate die for your Machinator, you can do that, but it's not mandatory. Because you're not actually actively using your insight ability right now.
We're gonna find out she got arrested and like thrown in the brig or something.
Yeah,
Not really Nin anymore.
We'll hold off on the fate die.
Wow, that's a good roll. Okay.
Good call.
What can I say? I'm on a roll tonight.
You are. Here we go. So, what is the next plan here? You have all these intrigues, all these plot threads, but obviously the most important threat still is the bad guys, the undead, the Restless, in fact, in the north. Am I to understand that Praanz has been talking to Hildur about mobilizing the militia, or are you just going to go with the soldiers? So at this point, just so you know your own resources, let's have a look. Where did that go? Nope, not that way.
I believe the plan was to mobilize the militia as well.
Yep.
Because I don't want to leave the town completely exposed.
So you want to leave the militia in town while the army march away?
No, I'd like to leave a mix of both, because I don't trust anybody as far as I can throw them.
I mean, that's sensible.
I realize
Total
that undead and Restless aren't quite the same, but do they act similarly? Like, would Malek be able to help predict their tactics?
I doubt it.
Okay.
One thing... That's a difference between them and regular undead, or lower level undeads anyway. Where did that
Probably
go?
a lot of bitter muttering about how I've
Yes.
apparently been studying the wrong form of necromancy this whole time.
In the garrison, you have 300 soldiers.
Okay.
There is also, of course, the convoy. I would say that you can raise another just as many from there, so various marines. You can probably press gang a few sailors. There's some soldiers in the Galbalon as well. Not a full contingent. They would have 500, but they only had a single century there. So altogether 600 or so, and then the locals would be another 100 maybe. So altogether 700 could be mobilized over the next couple of days. You will have to speak to Hildur and get him to understand the urgency. Like right now, the atmosphere in town is shaken. Dead people should not rise, and dragons should not fly, and what's happening. And there's rumors now, a lot of rumors, and suddenly the Digitalonga has taken over everything. The Procurator's no longer in charge. It's intense.
And the Shagulites and the Inquisition are working together. What the actual fuck?
Cats and dogs working together.
Exactly.
Mass hysteria!
Colonel.
I will go talk to Hildur, and I will take Lady Taralese with me.
Very well.
Before
Yes.
you leave, when you are making your plans for defense, one of the differences between the Restless and the Undead, the Restless have far more capacity for independent action.
Okay.
When we're dealing with Undead, a good strategy is to take out the source of the magic. That will not work in this case.
So cutting off the head's not necessarily the first plan of attack.
Maybe individual heads, but the typical strategy of finding the necromancer to deal with the problem will not be of much use here.
Okay.
They will also be far more intelligent than is usually the case.
Hilder! At young Hilder's. I'm not going to bring the interior of the tavern because we already know what it looks like. You're just going to speak to Hilder himself. And he is, of course... Let's just say that there is still business going on at Young Hilder's because it's the one tavern in town. It's the one place where sailors and soldiers and, others can drench their sorrows in ale that is readily available. But there is not the festive atmosphere at all anymore that it was the first couple of days. Merchants, soldiers, the century of soldiers, so about 80 or so, who are rotating out, the veterans who are gonna go home, they just can't wait for the sulfur convoy to leave. They have this much left. There's this much left. There's like 2 days left after a year's contract. They have this much left. We're going home now. And then a dragon came, and the dead started waking. With this much left. Almost home. I'm sure one of them has like a helmet where they're marking off the days. And of course the locals are equally worried. Like, everybody's kind of whispering to each other, speaking with very, very low voices. There's no laughter or drunkenness. There might be some drunkenness, but it's going to be angry drunkenness. It's going to be, I don't want to think about this anymore and I don't want to die, so I'm going to drink as much as I can before I pass out type of drunkenness. Not the, we're going home, party type of stuff that was the first couple of days.
Was even the bard given up in the corner?
Yeah, maybe he has. Poor Mosca sitting around there and just kind of playing the flute ever so slightly, as somberly at least. You'll find the usual suspects of locals there. Guelman the Mountain Man. No, I don't think he's there, to be honest. He has other things.
He has his mountain to reclaim.
Yes, he has a mountain to reclaim, so he's not here anymore. But Shalab and Adertang will be there, the 3 adventurers will be there, and also, of course, Hilder, who is serving people and talking to locals, and he does a lot of that. There's a lot of locals talking to him, so it's almost like Praanz will have to wait for a few minutes because he has a conversation with some farmer who's come from outside as a stack of pelts, been out hunting, and then...
Guessing previous experiences shown Malek that he's very much not welcome at Young Hilder's.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like anybody would stop him, technically, but all the conversations would die down when he enters the room in a very marked fashion.
What about the daughter?
Oh, she's there. Absolutely. She's really worried. She will, in fact, go up to Lady Taralese, because Lady Taralese did establish a bit of rapport with young Meriti. So she will go up there. Oh, my lady! And she's doing her best curtsy that she possibly can do, which is very, very clumsy by any other standard. My lady, what news? What's happening? Do you know anything? What's happening? You must know everything. You are a lady.
Oh, darling, flattery will get you everywhere. But at the moment, what I need is if you can help get your father over here.
I can do that, yes. Oh, and Barú, Erald, you must know everything. You are an inquisitor.
We're working on it, but we need to speak to your father.
Right away. She will tug him, and he will.
Praanz just looks after her like, chopped liver much?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back at Villa Sunbask, I'm here like, this is a pen. God damn it! Where's the useful stuff?
Sometimes you catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Yeah.
I don't have honey at my
Don't be too
disposal.
salty.
In case you didn't realize, they don't teach honey in the military.
No, but that's why you need us nobles, though.
True.
Anyway, Hildur comes out. As always, a rock of confidence and dignity and authority here locally. He still is wearing his apron, but he does have some sort of frowns of concern on his brow. Colonel,
Good
my lady,
afternoon. Is
Father?
there somewhere more privately we could speak?
Certainly. He will quite simply take you into the back of the tavern where he and his wife usually sleeps. His family usually sleeps. It's a cramped place. There are, his wife is standing out by the kitchen and doing her work there and all that sort of thing. But he can close the door. It's rustic. It's rural, cramped, but it's a place to speak.
So I will be blunt, good sir. We have a theory of where the dead are coming from, and a plan to stop them is in the work. But we need to add a few good men to the soldiers on their way. And we need your help to do that.
A few good men. They're coming, you say?
Oh yes, there are more. Many more.
Many more. How many do you know?
We're not sure. We know they've attacked the next town over, and we know the dig site went awry. That's where they're coming from.
They're coming from the dig site to the north. Your family's farm is there up in the north, no?
Oh, not far from Arhem, though. The dig site is 2 days away.
Still, I imagine a place like that would get hurt first before Arhem would.
The first waves hit us once already.
We saw the cemetery, he says.
More will come.
More will come. And you don't know how many, but there will be many.
Yes.
You must understand, Colonel. This trouble at the camp, I had nothing to do with that.
I understand, sir. If I thought you did, you would not be a free man.
It doesn't matter anymore, though. If the dead are walking and coming towards Arhem,
Then simple matters of who's running what are irrelevant.
we will walk with you.
Much
I'll,
appreciated.
Well, these are our homes we're talking about. You can just get on the ship and leave. We are not so lucky. We have to defend our homes as best as we can.
I assure you I don't plan to do so. Get on the ship and leave, as you say.
And when it comes to defending our home, I am pleased to have Trakorian arms side by side with ours.
Yes.
It is better than the old days.
I would like to divide the soldiers to leave some here for repair and defense, should we fall.
Very well.
So if you could give me a list of which men would be best for what.
I don't know about the Trakorian soldiers. That is for the procurator to speak about. But for
Just your men.
for our villagers, I'll be able to select some. How many do you need?
As many as you can spare. I'd like to split it about 50-50. Half left here, half with me.
Very well.
So let me know who can fight and who would be better to repair and defend.
Very well. We will take the best with us.
Excellent.
He looks genuinely pained in his face. Like, this is a man who has seen battle before. He knows what it means going into battle and losing your friends, your kin. But that was still a fight against a human opponent. And what this might mean for him, his family, everyone living in Arhem, he has no illusions about this. He's a veteran already, and this is gonna get worse.
I imagine Praanz has a very similar look.
Yeah, you are two officers, truly, who understand each other. The 1,000-yard stare, you share it.
Yeah.
Perhaps to sweeten the pot for those that still can fight, but maybe aren't quite as experienced as you two. I would say any who offer to join you and help with defending this area, their kin and anyone else who's infirmed or not inclined towards fighting can take refuge in the garrison.
I think that's a good idea.
Indeed. Oh, it might interest you, by the way, Colonel. Word is, Guziar da Olach was freed from the sulfur camp. I'm sure the Trinsmirans did it. Guziar used to lead the, he used to hold anti-Trakorian speeches here. Some young people, hotheads, dreamed of rebellion against the Trakorians when he was speaking such. That's why he ended up in the camps a year ago. But now he's been freed, but he's an old, frail man. I'm not sure he's much good for doing any trouble anymore. And
even old, frail men can rally young hearts.
Those young studs, I will talk to them and we'll bring them with us. If they want to fight, they can fight on the front lines. They will do less trouble there.
Excellent. I will confer with you in this time tomorrow.
Indeed. Yes, unless there is someone who has something to do, we can do a jump cut to that, I suppose.
And Malek's mostly just writing out words and phrases in the two languages that seem like they might even remotely be related, like, death, life, eternity, like...
Yeah.
I can recognize patterns.
Doing that kind of elaborate sort of preparation before you might see the tongue that you're interested in studying, it's going to give you bonus dice when it's time to actually look at it. Because you're doing all that prep research work to look for those patterns. So, yes, research pays off. Preparatory research pays off.
I think Lady Taralese and I will go back and prep the garrison to become a defensible position while most of the military is away.
Enter montage. The ballistas.
And I will.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will show her the best ways to defend something like the garrison, like where to place your soldiers, where to place your cannons, where to,
Lady Taralese, you know better than anyone else about anything always. You are the smartest person in the room, so do you really need the suggestions from Praanz?
Yeah, I mean, she'll humor her. She's very good at humoring, but she knows best.
There is an opportunity for a fate die for your bane here, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I know. I'm saying, like, she's doing the whole,
Oh yes, of course, darling.
And Praanz is very much, are you paying attention? Like, this
Yes,
is important.
dear. And she'll repeat back exactly what Praanz says.
I want to have, just because I'm in that mood right now, why don't Taralese roll a water versus water to see if you can get away with your little chicanery here and hide your true feelings from Praanz.
I will use a fate die because this is her bane for machinations.
Yes. You don't actually have to spend it because you get it back because this is your bane, so, you know. But roll 3 dice. Ooh, nice. And we have Praanz, who has 2 dice and no machinator, so there you go.
Ooh.
Ooh. Praanz sees through the guile.
I actually think I will use my experience of being able to fit in with people that she's not necessarily interested in fitting in with.
Ah, yes. That one.
Yes.
Praanz has the noble ability as well. I don't know if that'll give her anything.
No, that doesn't help for this kind of thing. Nobility gives you more money and sometimes more rank. And also access to an estate, basically. So it's more like a resource thing. It's more about how much money you have and resources you can draw on. But also kind of status, of course. But they're equal in standing, so. That is now 3 successes versus Praanz's 2. Lady Taralese is now cleared to level up, I believe.
I thought you were sleeping there for a minute, but I must have been imagining it.
Oh, don't worry, dear. You're still caught up in your bloodthirsty high from earlier.
That must be it.
That must be it. Since we are in fact doing the montage scene, this is an excellent moment for Lady Taralese to level up if you want to. Because, like, the next day is when there is a moment when Praanz is going to talk to Hildur, and I guess you're marching off on the morning of the 25th, is that what we're saying? Because this is the 23rd now, you're talking to Hildur tomorrow, and then in the morning of the 25th you march.
Yes.
So, Taralese, do you want to level up?
Why not?
Why not?
Because I will spend the 24th moving people that can't go to the front lines into the garrison.
Indeed. So, leveling up in this game works as follows. So, first of all, the weight of your destiny goes up by 1 step, because so now you have a 1 in that. Weight of destiny. That's the one left of the fate dice there. You can now raise your ability and raise 1 step in one ability, or get a completely new ability if you want. We discussed this earlier, and you said something about raising your mentalism, perhaps, to level 2.
Yes, which I think is incredibly appropriate.
Yes, I would agree. So it's going to be a level 2. You can shift around the values of your bloods. If you raise 1 blood by 1 step, you have to lower another blood by a step. But that's something you can do during a level up. So you can shift around the values a bit. Is that something you're interested in doing?
No, it is not.
Very well. And then we will remove all the crosses in the various experiences that you have used so far. They are now available for use again. And then we write a new experience for your character, which should definitely be built on what you've been experiencing here in Arhem.
Yes, I will work on crafting a shortened sentence of the horror she discovered delving too deep into Nin's mind after she visited the Iron Tower.
I delved too deep into, and then you can write that. So it's going to be related to your mentalism work, of course.
Into the mind of a Shagulite prisoner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see now. I'm just checking the others here. Praanz has not reached level up status. You still have 1 experience left. Erald also has an experience left to check off. Okay. And Malek has 1 million.
Not even close.
Not even close.
I keep winning.
Yep. So that means that one of us now is level 2. Level 2. We don't even say level 2 in this game, but never mind. It's level 2, right? That's what it is. And then I guess what is happening in town is there is an intense activity in the garrison and elsewhere. The Sulphur camp will slowly start, with what they should be doing. Because right now there's a heavy military presence, like soldiers escorting sulfur barrels to make sure that no Transmuran agents or saboteurs or assassins or otherwise can get to them. They've caused enough trouble. I
have at least one of those wolfkin, the 3 that went with us to the druids, on each shift.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they will be there.
Along with the giant.
And Abrelux is just doing all the work. He hardly sleeps during these times. He is gonna watch for saboteurs. I'm watching, boss. I'm watching.
Excellent.
I will not... They will not get past me, boss.
I want you rested, because you're coming to the front lines with us.
Yes, boss.
I just imagine Transmuran sneaking up behind him in the background, and he's totally oblivious.
Yeah.
Literally while he's saying that. Yes.
Yes.
That's why I have the wolfkin there as well.
They have a better nose, to be sure.
At least they'll be able to smell the black powder.
Yeah, Bodeville is nowhere to be seen. Bodeville is gone from town, just like Malek said. Which means that the trade house Shakello right now has great trouble and chaos with how they are gonna handle the whole sulfur thing. But as this unfolds, the other trade house, the House of Mogger, who is, of course, so M-O-G-G-E-R, Mogger, not Mugger, the marsh folk, they will be very happy to step in and provide all the necessary logistical support, including accounting, to make sure that the sulfur trade and the sulfur logistics can continue under proper trained supervision from a professional logistician.
And of course the Empire thanks them for their service.
Well, very wide mouths. Yes, of course, Colonel. Always happy to assist, yes. If we could just draft 1 or 2 documents here to make it official and legal, as it were, because, Shakello has the monopoly in the trade. We're not allowed to touch it. But you, Colonel, having these emergency powers over the trade and the colony, could issue a document with all the proper seals, a proper tablet, if you will, guaranteeing that House Mogger can do these services and, shall we say, take over where the Shakellos are lacking competence at the moment, yes?
Of course, pass the proper paperwork through Lady Taralese, and she will make sure they're up to snuff for me.
Of course, we would be honored. Maybe we can ensure that both the good colonel and the good lady will be properly compensated for their assistance in making these documents.
Bad move, my dude.
Be produced very quickly and with all the proper seals to guarantee that, shall we say, no a lawyer on Shakello's part might bring us to court once we get to Silvery.
I'm certain we can work something out to ensure that you're not accused of any piracy, per se.
Yes.
I'll whisper to Lady Taralese, don't let us get fucked over.
Oh, don't worry.
There will be bags of gold here, like, insight check. Lady Taralese, you have 3 wind. Why don't you roll?
Wasn't even subtext by that point. It was basically just text.
No,
It was
yeah.
just text. There was no subtext.
Let me bribe you. Here, let me bribe you.
Taralese, it occurs to you, you are the smartest person in the room. I don't think Praanz has actually discovered this yet.
Yes, I have. That's why I keep putting this stuff on her.
Yes. She has given you total power over the garrison, basically. You are resting on her emergency powers under the Digitalonga's auspices. There is a whole convoy full of sulfur within arm's reach, literally. Which means, in theory and in practice, you could write some very interesting clay tablets saying that some of this sulfur actually is owned by, other people, emergency expropriations. In other words, how much money do you want to siphon off of this? That goes for Praanz too, if you want to tell Praanz about this opportunity. But, again, in this game, when you find a treasure, you get a lump sum from level 1 to level 5. Have your pick at this stage.
I think she'd probably siphon off enough to be able to buy her own Veritas.
Yeah.
Fabricus Veritas. And a little extra to help make sure that Praanz is properly funded in her future endeavors.
Yes.
Courtesy of House Bravaleti.
So lump sum 3 or 4?
Yeah.
5 maybe?
5 feels a little too greedy.
5, yeah, maybe. I'll put the lump sum level 4 then.
I appreciate at least looking out for me, buddy.
Yep. This is basically you guys just stealing some sulfur. That goes on that ship.
But she's not going to tell Praanz how she came by it. She knows better than that, because Praanz is lawful if nothing else.
Praanz is lawfully stupid.
So this means no lump sum to Praanz? Just a lump sum to you?
No, she is going to offer some of her own resources, being of nobility herself.
Mm-hmm.
Cough, cough, wink, wink.
Yeah.
That just so happens, it doesn't matter. It's coming from her house. It's coming from her family's funds. How her family came by those funds is questionable. But Praanz isn't interested in those details anyway.
This works so terribly well towards reclaiming someone's estates. I'll give you 3 fate dice right away for destiny. How about that? I feel that's completely warranted at this particular time.
All because Praanz is shit at paperwork.
Yep. Look! All the money I need to buy my estate! Or some such.
Enough to get some friends to get rid of her aunt and uncle.
Yeah, exactly. Very fruitful.
If you need somebody gotten rid of, you can always just tell Praanz that they're against the Empire and they're traitors.
I have a feeling...
Don't worry. She's been there's a reason she's been fostering that with Praanz here.
I have a feeling some of those crates of sulfur, not many, just 2 or 3 out of the 20 or so, end up on the Reaver's daughter, and you can always contract Malachi to get those back to the Bravaleti estate.
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough, Speaking of sending word, technically, Erald, the Reaver's daughter is right there. It's a fully functional caravel. They've had time to repair it. They could take off any day now if you want them to.
Yeah, if there is intent for them to leave, Errol definitely would send
Malachi has
notification.
concluded his business. He has no reason to stay.
Yeah, and I will be sending paper. I would have to be sending reports back to Goba. So.
Yep, and he has absolutely no inclination of fighting a bunch of Restless. They say, I have the money. I'm not going to get more money than I already have.
Yeah, you can't
He's a
pay me enough for this shit.
Exactly. So at this point, everything after this is just a loss for him. So, on to the Reaver's daughter, and away he goes.
Yeah.
He will, yeah, he'll set sail in with the tide, basically, and he will carry a certain lump sum for Lady Bravaleti, and he will carry his own lump sum as well. He's loaded this time. And also all the reports that you want him to carry to Trakoria.
Yeah.
Erald will basically describe to Mesura as a huge anti-creationist hole that needs to be purged and requires immediate assistance.
Yep.
And Praanz will write of her suspicions, leaving out her implications of Goba. Because I'm not that dumb.
Indeed. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing, Erald will actually mention specifically when he's describing Mesura to state that because he was ill-equipped to deal with the anti-creationist, he's now has to side with one to deal with another.
Well, it's going to take about 4 weeks for the letter to get there, and
because this place was that much of a shithole.
Yep.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5, depending on winds. And by that time, of course, it's not going to be possible to return here until the fall because of the sea serpents. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right. As a final note, I suppose, because we're about to wrap things up here, Malek, was there anything else that you wanted to get done here while Lady Taralese is stealing stuff?
What was the result of my attempt to scout? Like, do I see a massive army heading our way?
Ah, yes. You are using that particular means, yes, aren't you? Yes. Yep.
How much time do I think we have?
2 days.
Oh, that's generous.
We'll meet them halfway.
Possibly
then.
3.
They're moving slowly then?
Yeah.
Probably repair to the garrison.
There we go. I have some notes there. So basically what you see from your particular way of scouting from above is that valley is just absolutely covered by the Restless. It's a city that has woken up.
Yeah. So he would probably ask to speak to Praanz privately in that case, because otherwise we're going to cause a panic.
Yep.
Yes, because that will mildly change my strategy.
I'm going to say that this is going to be in the morning of the 24th. That makes sense.
So instead of setting out for the sulfur camp, we will basically make a wall of soldiers between the city and the dead. Because we're not going to get through them otherwise. We're going to have to cut our way through them. And I can't just leave the city undefended.
There are thousands of them, Colonel. Arhem is a village. This was a large city that has risen.
Okay. I will evacuate what I can evacuate. So that's literally all I could do.
I know. I thought you should know. By my calculations, the living are outnumbered 10 to 1.
Okay. Fire will be our best friend then.
The ships have weapons?
They do.
Yes.
They have ballistae, and the biggest one, like the Galbalon, is a floating fortress. It has a trebuchet and a catapult aboard. Some serious stuff.
Intelligent as they are, I don't think they'll be able to leave the land.
Okay. I will move anybody who's not fighting onto a ship.
So you're starting. So your approach to Hilder now is, instead of we're marching
Evacuate.
out, it's evacuate.
Yeah.
Hilder will just be absolutely stone-faced at this. No, we cannot evacuate. He says, these are our homes.
If you want your people to live long enough to rebuild,
we have to
you
defend
need to get
North
on a
Town.
boat. I plan to defend the town. But on the case that everybody gets wiped the fuck out, I would rather have the women and children on a ship.
Very well. We will do that. We will do that. Yeah, by noon of the 24th, Hildur has someone ring the bell in the town square and gives people the news. We have to leave Arhem because the dead are coming, and anybody who can should get on a ship. Anybody who cannot should use the fishing fleet, make for the other villages on the south, and perhaps even to Costa Nova if necessary, and so on. So yeah, they will start, and of course people are wailing at this. There's cries of fear, of lamentations of sorrow. What will become of us? There's no panic necessarily among the Marjorans. There's much more of that among the Trakorians, the nobles particularly, who immediately want to book passage on any given ship, and just get out as quickly as they possibly can. The convoys, there's not going to be a whole lot of room on any of the Carracks or the Caravels, that's for sure.
Anything that's got weapons on it stays here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Caravels are not at all as well armed as the Carracks.
And I will conscript anybody that I can.
Yeah, you will do that. The merchants will first give you some trouble. Certainly the muggers. They do not want to part with their cargo, and at late in the afternoon of the 24th, you will have civilians, Trakorians mostly, who will complain to you, or Lady Taralese, either one, whoever is closest.
I want to use my influence in the market to help deal with that.
Ah, yes. Of course you can. Let's have a look. You have influence.
I have influence too.
You have influence too. So you can use one person in one scene to help out in some way.
Yeah, so like just making sure everything runs smoothly and nobody has the logistics are so smooth that nobody has a chance to really start the up a complaint. And by the way, by the time that they think to do it, the momentum is gone.
Excellent. Yeah, that diffuses some.
And Praanz just has no patience for the rest of it. She snaps and barks, and by the time she's done, they're too afraid of her to lodge a complaint.
That's fair. The complaint was going to be about, we can fit more people into these ships if we just dump the cargo. And that's not going to be very popular with the muggers, of course. And like you are not allowed to dump the sulfur. That's not a thing. But there's a bunch of other cargo here. Primarily a whole bunch of nobles who want to bring their souvenirs from the island. And
no, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. They will
that
gnash
doesn't
their
happen.
Teeth. And also the muggers do have like Marjoran goods, like fuzzard pelts, some giant white moss lumber, some bison pelts and Carson fat, things like that, local produce.
Listen, people, you can always get more stuff when you're alive.
So that doesn't go aboard as well. Mogers won't be too happy, but they have the sulfur, so they're not complaining too much. And so
Praanz has no patience for anybody.
I'm gonna see if Suladon Rumperlack is willing to talk to me and be useful.
Yeah, he's gonna be looking at those ships with a great deal of, oh my god, I want to be on one of those. And anyone who can get him on a ship, he will.
I imagine there's a moment where Malek comes up behind him as he is doing that and says, "Your assistance is required."
Of course. Yes, immediately.
Your best bet, I think, needs to be as useful as possible.
Yes, oh, I'm very useful. Whatever you need, whatever you need. How about some zombie to keep the prisoners docile, or maybe the locals docile. We could do that too. Or
Fire.
Fire. Yes, yes, of course.
Spread fire. Something to spread fire.
Something to spread fire. Yes, yes. Something to spread fire. I am so sorry to say that I do not know the recipe for wildfire. That is a too well guarded Transmuran secret, I'm afraid. But I can do other things. Maybe something with Silvolium. We don't have a lot of that here. Yes. I have been working a bit on black powder. I can.
So I've heard.
Yes, I can do more work on that. Yes. If you want, I can. Yeah, all the black powder you need. I need some sulfur for it, though. It's one of the key ingredients. But I can do that. Yes, many barrels. We can mine the terrain and then blow it up if we need to. Yes, is that good? Yes, that's great. I'll.
He wants to blow up the sulfur camp?
No, the self-camp. Of course not, Colonel. No,
the terrain.
The Restless. Blow up the Restless.
Okay.
Huh? Yes, we can do that. And so we leave our intrepid agents and guardians of Trakoria, which strangely now includes Malek Mangus, the Shagulite.
Did not see this coming.
In a plot twist that I think nobody who's ever played this campaign saw coming, which will greatly amuse the fans of the show. And you are on Miska 24th, working hard to prepare defenses. In fact, as you do this, you can start like setting up, extra walls, dig ditches, all sorts of paraphernalia to strengthen defenses.
Set up areas for black powder traps.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have one question before we go. Is there a way to remotely light black powder? Could I do it with like a fire arrow or?
Yeah, that could do it. Yeah, fire arrow possibly, but typically you need a fuse and.
I might be able to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the rats.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Light one on fire.
Oh,
Yep.
Just give it a little brand to go running in with.
I have a feeling that next time we reconvene, we will quite simply play the Battle for Arhem.
Yep.
And now, finally, I can maybe reveal to you No, I'll do that next time.
I imagine young Hilder is going to be gobsmacked when he sees the motley crew that has been assembled to defend this place.
Hilder is going to be gobsmacked, yes. His son Rurik is going to be gobsmacked too, but very eager to have a chance to fight. In fact, a sign that Hilder is preparing to fight is he is taking down his axe, his battle axe, from the wall.
He's gonna ask some people some questions.
Mm-hmm, indeed.
I never do things the way you're supposed to do them.
In a couple of weeks, perhaps, the Battle of Arhem. Ugh, don't know how that's gonna work.
We're gonna break
everyone.
everything. Bye.
Thanks, folks.